says, all right, maybe that's not the best decision.
Wait, he got mated. Queen h8, queen h4. No, he missed
mate.
Oh,
he missed the mate. White misses mate. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, gosh, that was checkmate.
Absolutely bananas, everybody. Bring up the analysis board and try not to call me Shirley. Gotta be kidding on that, everybody. That was just hilarious. Backing up the game. And it was all down to one final spot. Here with me, Grandmaster Robert Hess. Is this as big of a lineup as you've seen for an open tournament in online chess history? It's up there, right?
Yeah, it's pretty insane, honestly. You got some of the top players in the world, like Anish Giri, Alexander Grischuk, Vladimir Fedoseev. So a bunch of 2,700 plus classical chess players. So, I mean, it's going to be a total fight today.
Yeah, and what's funny, of course, is for those who follow the Speed Chess Championship closely and know the rules, they know that Anish Giri, Sasha Grichuk, they don't even have to play in this tournament in order to make it into the Speed Chess Championship. They were given invites directly. Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about what makes the Speed Chess Championship so far. There are 15 players, as you can see, all of their beautiful faces in front of you. You'll notice Anish Giri, you'll notice Sasha Grichuk, along with heavy favorites like Hikaru Nakamura. But the thing is that one of the newest faces just added right there at the top of that diamond, of course, is Dominguez, who just won our knockout qualifier when he took out three other players. Well, not directly, but he bested three other players in Jan Ludwig Hammer, Eric Hansen, and Georg Meyer. So today's format a little bit different, Robert. Let's talk about what we expect to change. This isn't a round-robin knockout heavyweights going one-on-one. This is an open tournament, 10 rounds of Swiss chess. And when you look at this top list of players, who do you see as the early favorite?
Well, I think it's a bit more dangerous, honestly, with this format because, as you just mentioned, Danny, the other one was a knockout where you knew how many points you needed to win the event. Here, let's say you make a couple draws early on, you may start taking risks very early on because you don't know how the other players, if they're going to go on winning streaks or not. But to answer your question, who do I see as the favorites? Well, you know, Sasha Grichuk, hard to go against him. Anish Giri, they're already in the field, and I believe they'll take this very seriously. And outside of that duo, it's really unclear. There's Daniel Naroditsky, who, of course, is a menace on Chess.com and writes many Blitz articles, but you never know just who will shine on any given day, especially with the World Cup on in the background.
Yeah. Well, as I just tweeted, I said that maybe the biggest battles of the day won't be the ones going on the chessboard, but it'll actually be me fighting for your attention to keep you away from looking over there at France versus Belgium. So everyone in Twitch and Chess.com TV, first of all, thank you for being here. Second of all, please keep us closely updated so that Grandmaster Robert Hess can focus where it matters, which is right here on the chess and with all of you on Twitch. So, Robert, we can pick our flavor here. This is going to be an exciting 90 minutes to 2 hours of chess. I'm currently showing the battle between Fedoseev, Mr. Big Fish, 1995 versus Chess Queen. But of course, we know we already have Grischuk taking on the Last Samurai, although it looks like there hasn't necessarily been a move yet. So maybe Grischuk is not aware that the games have started. I'm going to guess there's a pretty good chance that Sasha stepped away for a quick you-know-what break. And that he might be deeply regretting that. We'll see, because it's not an issue with any other players. Obviously, you can see Anish Giri taking on Verde Not, known as Gawain Jones. I don't know where I'm like a kid in a candy store. Robert, tell me what games to look at.
Well, let's start off with his Giri game against Gawain Jones because the action's heating up over there on the queen side. You see that Jones with the black pieces just went queen to b6, and obviously he's aiming down the b file. He'll throw one rook on b8, another on c8, and I'm not really sure if this is exactly what White wanted. Of course, g5 could come into play at any moment,
right?
Forcing that knight away from his defense of the d5 square, also freeing up queen d4 with checks on the king on g7, and then maybe eventual h4, h5. So I guess you start with queen d4 as was just played, and now play just simple chessmate pawn to c3. And your knight on a4, though, that's what I'm worried about. If you play pawn c3, bishop d7 might be timely, trapping that knight. So, have to figure out exactly how to defend your king before you go forth on the king side with h4, h5.
Shout out to Elastic Hold, who just actually he was just given a sub there by Face Chess. Okay, so now we've got the analysis board up here. Gawain Jones is known as a super aggressive player, right? We know he's not going to be afraid. This probably won't be the last dragon we'll see of him in today's show. But after the last move, queen to d6, rook e1, I feel like Giri is smartly transitioning into more of a positional battle here, Robert, given that when white gets a grip on these dark squares, having lost many dragons myself, if you can focus on a thing like knight c5 and not let it be a race, especially when black has already opened up the queen side, white's probably going to be in good shape. But maybe I'm wrong. Now f3 falls at... So, okay, this is heading down a road where I still like white, I guess, because I feel like these types of endgames tend to favor white at quickly getting the queen side pawns if he does do that. But what do you see? You disagree?
No, I'm in total agreement, Danny, especially after the trading on g4. The problem for white is after queen takes g4, knight takes g4, rook takes e7, there's knight f2, which forces that bishop off the board. And you need that bishop versus knight in the ending.
Right.
So it is very timely for black here. And, well, if white wants to keep the queens on the board with move like queen to e5, well, he doesn't. In fact, he just traded now. I guess bishop... Yeah, exactly. Bishop e2 is a very smart move to include. That way knight f2 doesn't go to Forktown because the d5 pawn is hanging and there's no bishop on d3. And now you can capture on e7. I don't know. There's disjointed pawns here. a7, d5 are both isolated and potentially weak. But at the same time, not that many pieces remaining. I like white's chances. I'll just go b4, king b2, a5, etc., and make progress on the the queen side if I'm Giri, as he just did.
Well, tons of people coming in with subs here. Face Chess, whoever that is taking up the sword. So thanks for all your support of the chess channel and of the chess community. So, all right, well, Giri keeps the bishop, but with a pair of rooks off the board and black already having pressure on, maybe black gets this h-pawn going, but I don't know. You like white instinctively based on the fact that the bishop should be better than the knight if it becomes a pass pawn race. But these are really hard to calculate quickly, especially as commentators, and we're not actually trying to play the position. Maybe b5 now, and then try to get a7. Yeah, he goes for it. Okay.
Yeah, this is starting to look very good for white. Like you said, the bishop just has more scope. So unfortunately for that knight, that once some of those pawns are captured on the queen side, the knight has to retreat to d7, whereas a bishop can defend the pass pawn from all the way from the other side of the board.
Yep.
And it looks like Grischuk did in fact arrive at his board. So
yeah, he did. No, we were accurately predicting that he took a break of some kind. Knowing Sasha, and
he's delivering the goods right now. He's about to just destroy. He's already destroying. That's our buddy Ali Mirandi, JJ, who does stream a lot on Chess.com. Right.
Yep.
So here with the black pieces, Last Samurai is just absolutely getting demolished. The king on a8 is going to get mated soon. f7 is falling. There's no checkmating ideas for black.
Trying to get there. Yeah, he came back in a game where he was down. Those of you who've been with us since the beginning of the show, he had what, lost 90 seconds before he made his first move as white?
Yeah. He spotted some good time. But unfortunately for Ali Mirandi, he's not in time to defend this game. I think now queen... trying to get my queen to the back rank, right? If I can deliver back rank checkmate, that's essential. Rook e4 is a pretty big threat for black at this moment. So you have to figure out now how exactly to tie everything together. I think you can get away with playing knight f3 here. I don't know why he played knight e1 in the first place. I would go knight back to f3, meeting rook e4 with queen takes h6. You have queen d3.
I guess getting the queens off the board, he is still...
But what about bishop takes e1?
Yeah, is that just a piece, or is he playing queen takes h7?
Queen h7? Yeah, I guess so. The rook covers the f2 square, which is very important. So
he has rook f8 even first, followed by queen takes h7 with check, and then this rook is going to slide over for...
But can the king run from a7 to b6 to a5 right now? So king a7, queen takes h7, check, king b6.
Rook b8. There is queen to b1. Keep in mind, queen to b1 here.
Queen b1 is beautiful.
And he finds it. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's the key. He probably doesn't even need the bishop. He's delivering mate, or if queen to b5, he has rook b8, everybody. And okay. Here comes
Danny, they always say retreating moves are the hardest to find.
Yeah.
Queen b1 check. I overlooked it, but Grischuk surely didn't.
Yep. Okay, now rook takes b4, followed by a normal assault where you're not even down material. Probably Grischuk is is in good shape. But let's bounce back to this crazy one here between Anish Giri and Gawain Jones, because we were following it, and it looks like it's going to end in a draw, with Giri actually being the only one who could lose. No, not anymore. He'll simply give up the bishop for the pawn and take the peaceful result. So I guess a success if you're Gawain Jones, playing one of the top 10 players in the world and drawing as black. So there you go.
And exactly what I was saying, these kind of situations where you're Anish Giri, you're playing a very strong grandmaster in the first round, you make a draw, and Giri doesn't need to qualify. He's already set in stone. He's one of the 15 players already in the field. But it just goes to show, you make an early draw, you make a second early draw, you have to start playing catch-up, and it's very difficult to win on command against strong grandmasters.
Grischuk did eventually take that game by checkmate, everybody. Also jumping on the board, another one of his countrymen, the young Russian Oparian Grigori, one of my dark horses to win this tournament. I also predicted him to win several of our open qualifiers last year, Robert. He came up just short multiple times, so we'll see if Grigori can prove me right this year. I asked you, but somebody who I'm going to keep my eye on right there, let's look at the Tiger. That's Gata Komsky right there, GK Chess Tiger getting a win in his first game. Look at that person right there, everybody. Keep an eye on him. But there's still a few games going. Let's try to map our way over to one of those. We have the Penguin GM. That, of course, the legend Andrew Tang. And this one looks like he's probably headed for a peaceful result. For those of you who are just joining and trying to figure out exactly what this is, a quick reminder, because we came in so fast and furious. This is, in many ways, the unofficial start to the 2018 Speed Chess Championship, the strongest event in online chess. We already have 15 of the world's best chess players signed up and ready to go. The tournament you are watching today will decide that lower left corner who is going to take that final spot with so many of the world's strongest GMs. Just to get into this event, you have to be 2,500 rated and a titled player. So not going to be the easiest event to win, Robert, to be rated 2,500 at Blitz on Chess.com and be playing up against a bunch of players who we've already listed. They're big names. So
absolutely. And sorry, Danny, I got distracted because France did just score a goal. So you know how you were fighting for my attention here. I did get a little bit distracted, but I was paying attention. I agree with you completely. 2,500 on Chess.com is at a minimum rating is very, very high.
Yep.
But here in this field, as you see, Penguin GM1, a fan favorite, he could only hold
he
the
drew.
ball.
He drew, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you said Penguin GM1. I just realized you said the number at the end of his name.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I should just say Penguin GM. And then you see Jonathan 113 say, what a game. So clearly Jonathan relieved. Penguin GM, I see in the chat, just says bleh. So different opinions on the same game.
Yep. Well, all right, so just getting underway. We're going to keep an eye on a big shot of the standings, everybody. So as you can see right now, a whole lot of super strong players there on 1 out of 1. Right there at the top, you don't really need to list names much bigger than Fedoseev at Big Fish 1995 or Sasha Alexander Grichuk. They're listed 5th. But, okay, we already said Anish Giri isn't listed there only because he just played one of the strongest players in the field in Gawain Jones. So, okay, I don't even know where to take this next beautiful part of the program besides, again...
There's one game left, actually.
There is one game left. Okay, I missed it. Let me go get it.
It
just finished.
Yeah, they made a draw by repetition.
The curse of me trying to bring up a game. So, Big Fish is Fedoseev. Super strong Russian grandmaster, was very active during the Pro Chess League. To answer your question, Jackie, there in the Twitch chat. And right now he is taking on a well-known international master on our site. We'll see how this one goes. All right, Alexander Lenderman, somebody who's been making even more of a name for himself lately in online chess, Robert, since he launched his own Twitch channel. Obviously, Lenderman has been competing alongside yourself in the Arena Kings, our weekly event. So we'll keep an eye on Alex. But where to go next? Let's see. We've also got Grischuk once again.
Yeah, we see Grischuk playing Karenki, and Karenki is a well-known IM on Chess.com. I don't know who the player is. I honestly, I looked Vladimir Selavertsov. I've never heard of this player before, but Russia has so many strong players that you can't know of all of them. So Grischuk with the black pieces is just playing here on the queen side, attacking the pawn on b2. Oftentimes, white sacrifices that pawn by exactly knight a3. The point is that if queen takes b2, there's always knight b5. At the very least, you're threatening knight c7 and rook b1 and back to a1 forcing a repetition. So Grischuk wisely ignores it and plays bishop to e6. And the point is now the pawn on b2 is still under a threat. You don't have to take it for the time being. You can wait until the proper moment. If you're white here, you can play a move like pawn b3 just to keep that pawn safe. But then your knight on a3 is a little weird. The black knight's coming to d5. So you have to figure out exactly how to tie your knight on a3 together with the fact that the pawn on b2 is hanging. It's not always
and often they do it. I was going to say, often they try to defend it dynamically. He played d takes c5, which is sort of a way to do that, to remove the queen from the threat. Sometimes they'll also try to just play knight c4 and call the bluff. But here...
But knight d5 now threatens the bishop on f4 and knight takes c3, winning a pawn. So this looks
knight takes
very bad.
Ooh, he doesn't see it, but knight takes d5 would have won a pawn. Sorry, knight takes c3 would have won a pawn, everybody, deflecting the b2's protection of the a3 knight. So we're not going to go down that road, but let's go down the road of actually checking out this game here between two really big names and a much more wide open, crazy position in Daniel Naroditsky's game versus Dr. Bassem. I was keeping this one in my eye as you were talking about Grischuk's game, and maybe it has now simplified. It was a little bit crazier than it is now. Looks like the queens are about to come off the board, and Naroditsky seems to be holding on to a healthy pawn here with 3 pawns versus 2 on the queen side.
Yeah, and I like this move, rook d8. It teaches you a lot about exchanging, because by going rook d8 first, you exchange on favorable terms for black. You get your rook active, the knight on d2 is completely under attack. Rook d1 to follow is a pin. So look at this. Bishop takes d2 now.
That's a creative move.
Bishop takes c1. Black gets 2 pieces for the rook. And Naroditsky's hoping that after bishop d2, king e2, bishop takes c1, king takes d3, let's say bishop takes b2,
rook b1.
that after rook b1, that activity going rook b7 followed by rook a7 or threatening rook b8 checkmate on the spot, of course. These sort of ideas give white not just compensation, but actually a favorable position. The rook is very active, and the minor pieces against just one rook may not be enough to ward off a passed pawn.
Creative solution there by Danya, everybody. If you want to follow the line one more time again that we just gave, bishop d2, king e2. The line I was showing on the analysis board after rook b1, bishop a3 is actually the only move in order to stop rook b8 checkmate. But after rook b8 and bishop f8, I think white has the choice between moves like either rook a8 or even rook c8, trying to go after these pawns. And maybe best play black holds that, but this is one of those rare cases where the rook and the extra pawn are actually probably much better than the knight and bishop because they are so quickly passed. So as you can see in the live position there, Dr. Bassem actually agrees and just puts the knight on d5, trying to keep his pressure instead of liquidating. Knight c4. Okay, interesting that black has to keep the pressure here, everybody, because one developing move like bishop f4, and now all the compensation is gone, and white's extra pawn will tell the story. So
now after king d3, there's knight f4 check. You're taking on f4.
Yep,
so
I was going to say we're sacking the exchange, right?
So I would go knight e7 here. Just pick up the c6 pawn. That's the dangerous pawn. White is still a little bit stuck on that back rank. So bishop c5, okay, going after f2, threatens knight b4 check perhaps. But I like the move knight e7, just going straight after that pawn on c6, getting that off the board.
Face Chess has just activated another football giveaway. He must be a France fan, I guess, since they're leading right now against Belgium 1-0. But thank you, Face Chess, for all of your awesome support. Yeah, Naroditsky is kind of stuck here, right? It's really difficult, everybody. Again, if you're not following, the point is the rook is hitting the bishop, which keeps this rook completely pinned down. But that bishop is also can't move because he himself is pinned. So I think it's probably a double use case of busting out a little Chess.com pin emote there. Yeah, okay, knight b3, a creative way by Naroditsky to get the bishop unpinned by protecting the rook on a1. White can now complete development finally. But Dr. Bassem has actually managed to get back some material in the meantime. So I have a hard time predicting.
Black's going up a pawn, right? Like, it's already even. Knight b4 check threatens the pawn on c6.
Yep, and after bishop f4, the point is I'm not sure either side really has great winning chances here.
Bishop f4. I might play rook e2 if I'm black there, or maybe rook back to e7. You got to keep the rooks on the board.
But you could, even after bishop, I mean, you could trade on a1 and play bishop b6. You are holding onto the pawn. And
that's true.
Maybe that's why Naroditsky actually just played the move a5 on the main board to prevent the bishop from coming to b6.
But the problem is now if you move your bishop away from c1, the a5 pawn is
Yeah.
a clear target. So
Yep.
knight a7 going to b5. I know black is much, much better here. This is very well played by Dr. Bassem. He used the initiative, the fact that white's pieces were tied down
Yeah.
to start unleashing more than just counterplay, but in fact an advantageous source of dynamism. So this is really well played by black at this point.
Well, we're going to focus on this one as it comes down the stretch. We want to remind everybody, if you have players you'd like to follow and not happy that we're not covering their games, for example, as you can see on the main board, Sasha Grischuk already took care of his opponent. I believe Anish Giri. Actually, Anish Giri is about to be in a time scramble. Let's flip over to that one, Robert. Giri's game is absolutely bananas. 2 seconds, 1 second. Barely moves with increment on the clock, but I think it doesn't matter because Giri did just win a piece, and that should be enough.
You know, going up a piece for a top grandmaster should typically be enough, but
hey, it's blitz.
you know, anything can happen. But
he just missed queen takes f2.
Yep, and he won
But
on
he
time.
won on time anyway. Oh, man. Okay, I guess he saw bishop e5 was coming, I'm guessing, Robert, and already saw that he could play queen to e6, so that was his initial reaction. But, of course, queen takes f2 would have been pretty good as well. So, okay, Giri takes care of business. Grischuk already has. We go back to the game between Naroditsky and Dr. Bassem. Bassem or Bassem?
I think it's Bassem.
Bassem, that's what I want to say. Ooh, mating net? No. Yes. No. No.
You're like, yes, no, maybe.
What,
oh, no.
are we playing chess here or doing something else, right? What's going on?
Yes. No, black is just
he's just winning the pawns and
mopping up.
only 5 seconds though. So a swindle or two, and you might actually win a game you have no business winning. Naroditsky has to deal with the c pawn.
Okay, but now two
Now
pawns
it
up.
should be
King
easy,
f4
yeah.
should just be simple here.
That was a nice practical choice there, right? By the good doctor. He is Egypt's only grandmaster. Is that correct?
No. There's of course. Amin Adli.
Okay, but he's one of them.
Yeah, he's by far the best. He's the first player
Yeah.
from Africa to reach 2,700. They have four grandmasters.
Okay.
Sammy Shoker. So they got a few.
So Dr. Bassem is the first African player to ever reach 2,700, not the first and only Egyptian grandmaster. My bad. But he's what I was going to say was a nice practical. Maybe not, because now he's really given away this rook ending.
I was about to say this looked very promising, and
I was about to applaud him for getting the knights off the board. Right, when you're the one winning, Robert, you want to eliminate those chances for awkward swindles and forks and blunders, right? And I think that was the right thing to do, that he got the knights off the board, but clearly it backfired.
Yeah, that was actually pretty crazy there.
Yeah.
Wow, that was unexpected. It was just so easily winning for many moves earlier, and all of a sudden his advantage went away. There's actually an interesting game left, Danny, between Hana Pazoria and Ari Stanner 23.
Two rooks and a queen. Loves it. Plus we get to make our first Armenia Eagles reference of the day. # Pro Chess League champions.
Yep,
So.
Absolutely. And Hrant Malkumian wasn't there to celebrate with the team, but he was an integral part of their team's success.
Yep.
And here with the white pieces, I mean, the two rooks can never lose. The real question I'm having is, can they
Can he
potentially
win? Yeah. He wants to win. Obviously, he's the favorite on paper here, if you look at Chess.com ratings, of course. But super difficult to find a way to get the queen on an awkward diagonal where she's incapable of checking. Often what you need to do here is activate the king. I was going to say, that's what you need to do. You need to activate the king and find a way to go win this pawn, even if your king gets checked a million times along the way. If you can find Black just missed queen to h8 check. I think that was probably the most accurate. Now he's in trouble.
and
he blunders the queen. He blunders the queen. And I'm glad that I found that, because I was predicting that the only real way to play the position here was for Black to find the move queen h8, everybody, which instantly creates a diagonal perpetual queen h8, queen b2. But as Robert Hess foreshadowed inadvertently earlier today, the hardest moves to see are retreating moves in chess. And that just cost that CM a potential upset.
Wow, that is a brutal way to go down. Queen and a pawn versus two rooks with no other pieces remaining. That's not good. But we're already into the next round. These things... there's no slowing down right now. Every game is just one round finishes, the next begins. So
I was going to say, go ahead.
No, I say we have to go toward the top of the standings here. We have some great players competing.
I just brought up the game to highlight that when you miss a chance at beating your opponent when you should, you get punished by the chess gods. So Dr. Bassem doesn't win a game against Naroditsky, now has to play the strongest 1.5 in the field against Anish Giri. So that's not a fun pairing. Okay, but there are so many others, right? We have a battle between 2 American grandmasters going on, between Alexander Lenderman and Varakobian. For those who want to check that out, remember, you can just go to Chess.com and follow any of these games yourselves if you're not happy with the game we're choosing to analyze. Grischuk with the white pieces. Also in a big game right now. I'm spying some different games here to see if I see anything exciting. Fans, if you want to let us know in the chat, whether that be on Chess TV or Twitch Chess, we're following both. Let us know if you see a game you'd like us to go to that might be more exciting.
I think we should go to Arm Composer versus
Big Fish.
Big Fish, yeah, okay. Because Fedoseev has to be the favorite of those players who are not already qualified to qualify this time around. And so with the black pieces here, look at that D6 square, right? If you're white, you're saying, is that knight coming into B5 or to C4?
I love it. You know how I feel about outpost squares. I put my ponies on them.
And I don't blame you at all. So knight d6 is met by knight e4 here. So there's tactically, I think it looks like, but then after knight e4, maybe I just go queen a3. And I wonder, the consequences. If you go knight e4, for starters, I could take on f5, but I don't really want to take on f5 because knight f5, e takes f5. And
this knight is actually very strong.
Exactly, and the pawn e5 is weak. But queen a3, is there knight takes knight takes e5 doesn't work. So many tactics here. So
what happens on queen to a3, knight takes e5 doesn't work, mainly because
knight takes f5.
Intermezzo, and even on queen takes a3.
You go pawn takes
a3.
No,
but black has knight takes f3 in the end. Oh, but you can take with the G. No, but there's knight c3. No, but then there's knight d4. But then there's e5.
No, but there's knight g3 or knight e7 check instead of knight d4. So knight g3 is the safest.
Okay.
But this is what become very difficult for budding players is they struggle to do the count, the 1, 2, 3, 4, all these tactical and capturing moves in a row.
I'm breaking every Russian schoolboy rule in the book by moving the pieces on the board instead of visualizing it, and I can't even follow the tactics. So that was knight takes e5 is certainly something that Fedoseev is thinking about right now. He decides that Robert is correct and just brings the rook to d8. But okay, back to the position. Since knight takes e5 was not a tactic that worked, the rooks just come safely into the center. Still feels like black has the right of way, if black can just find the right way to deal with this knight on d6. So knight takes e5 still doesn't work. Knight takes e5.
Knight e5, you could just knight takes e4, I realize, is probably just the smartest and easiest, right? Because you've taken f3, I just take back with the bishop, and the e4 is protected. So he took, wait, what? Didn't we just say knight takes e4 is...
he goes for it. We're going to find, that's what I'm saying. Obviously, Fedoseev was calculating it, and we're going to see if he sees something that we missed.
No, but knight takes e4 is a free piece. Knight takes e4,
queen takes a3.
Pawn takes a3.
Knight takes f3, then just bishop takes,
This is a free piece for one pawn, excuse me. So, we were trying to warn him that we were talking about knight takes e5, it's a blunder, and he goes for it, and he's paying full price.
Well, Arm Composer is reaping the benefits of that, so he finds the way to make it as tricky as possible, perhaps, but I think Fedoseev is, what they call these, Robert? They call these the 2 a.m.s. He's feeling the 2 a.m. blunders in Moscow. So... Nathan F314 jumping up with those double question mark emotes. Correct. Black is just losing.
Yeah,
it's amazing how much grief you got for saying Fedoseev didn't have the best pro chess league. I digress. A totally different topic, but he was.
He really didn't. So I stand by that.
But he was, he was playing at a very difficult time for him, and okay, maybe he's having some of those issues now as well. But all right, quickly. Where else do we want to go? Because there are a million different options going back to our main. We'll bring up the little mini scoreboard here.
I think we should go to Bassem Amin versus Anish Giri because right now many pieces are hanging. There's a bishop on d6 hanging, a rook on a8. It looks like Okay, so he took the bishop on d6. So now bishop f5 hitting the c2 pawn, but then there's going to be some problems. There's rook back to d2. So white is up a pawn at the moment.
Yeah.
And has a better position because that king on g7 is not particularly happy.
Yeah, that knight on f6 is completely safe, so safe that black just tries to get the queens off the board.
And that's a good practical decision by Giri. He says that, if I keep the queens on the board, my king on g7 will fall victim to queen d4 and a knight discovery. So I'm going to trade the queens off by force. Now I'm down just one pawn. And if you look at the pawn configuration, it's 4-on-2 on the queen side for white, but the two black pawns teaming up with the bishop do very well to stop those pawns.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the 3-on-2 on the king side, well, actually f6, g5. At some point, I can start breaking through with a passed pawn over there, and g3 in particular is a big weakness. And no weaknesses in the position for black. c2 a weakness for white. g3 a weakness for white. So now rook e3. I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah, this is one of those weird, unique things that happen in this sort of Petrov structure where white is up a pawn, but black's minor piece dynamic is better, and actually black's kingside majority is probably the better one. So
black is on the verge of winning here. Rook takes,
and then rook e2,
rook e2, rook g2,
followed by rook g2. Yep.
I mean, just very straightforward chess. You win the g3 pawn, and once g3 falls, you put your bishop in the long diagonal, go g5, and then push the h pawn. I mean,
it's fascinating there. You see, Anish Giri has played a few of these endgames before as black, so despite, again, as we initially said, being down a pawn, black was really the one in the driver's seat, everybody. And the king side has fallen. The king side has fallen.
Let's go over to the Firouzja game against Durabeli. So that's Vasif Durabeli with the black piece against Ali Reza Firouzja. And it looks like there's so many pieces on the board and that someone's up something, but it turns out that it's completely even in terms of material. Then now the b4 pawn is falling, then f3 falls. So who is better and why?
Feels like black has the better duo, again, if we're highlighting the knight versus bishop imbalance, right? We like black's pressure on f2, a5 is a target, but a centralized knight, if you can keep it that way, is usually
trapped.
Yeah, I was going to say the bishop has to go to c5 and then b4.
And then you can't get away with king d7 because there's knight b8 check, and you can't actually attack the knight without putting yourself in a pin.
Oh, wow. So he recognizes it just in time, has to play this super awkward retreating move, rook f7, just to guard the bishop.
So play b4 here and then take on... All right,
ooh, that's a nice... Yeah, that was a mistake. That allowed black out.
But now he's to take d6, take a6, and this is not the end game that white wanted. You should have started with b4 and clamped down on the position. Now all of a sudden, the position, we're kind of winding down into drawish territory where black, despite being down a pawn, there's not enough pawns remaining for white to win this one. King on h7 just sits there. And
well, I'm showing on the analysis board exactly the moment that you were talking about, partner, where white plays b4 instead of rook e6, probably goes on to win this endgame. So should be a draw now, yeah, outside of time doing anything weird. But at this point, yeah, black is the only one who can win if white's not careful, given that he's down on time.
Yep. And Sasha Grischuk lost, by the way.
Really? Grischuk falls. We'll bring up that game in just a second to Jamie Santos Latasa. Again, so nothing really can be done here. This is just a fancy way to draw. They're not going to take the shake of hands. They're going to play it out to kings, which is cool. We love that. We respect that. But okay, this is still just a draw. So we'll leave the analysis board up, move over to the main board, because I think everybody curious how a player like Grichuk falls here. Jamie Santos Latasa won on time. No, he won via traditional resignation.
Yes, and I'm guessing the name is Jaime, right? It's
Jaime
from Spain. So I think Jaime. Oh, look at that, bishop e6, trading off the bishops on move 49. And after that, the king and pawn ending was tragic for white.
Bishop e6 on move 49, and black wins.
Yikes.
Yeah, Grichuk almost feel like he was pushing the endgame farther than he probably should have. And blunders this move, bishop e6, everybody, forcing the bishops off the board, and immediately black will win because of the a-pawn. So, okay, well, a bunch of really strong grandmasters get together, you have upsets, and now we have one of the already invited to the Speed Chess Championship players going down in Grichuk, losing this game here as white. So What other games do we still have going? None, because the next round has already begun. Round 4 underway.
And we have some great matchups here. We have Jaime Santos Latasa playing Mukin 1. That's an Armenian player. We have an all-Armenian matchup on board 2 between Zavin Andreasian and Arm Composer. And Arm Composer is, I don't know, it doesn't say, but Arm Composer did just defeat Big Fish, Mr. Fedoseev. So a lot of Armenians toward the top here. Giri sneaking back up toward the top, playing Michael Brown from the U.S. And I see Gadakomsky as well up here playing Borsch 7. Who is Borsch 7? Maxim Matlikov. That's a powerful matchup. A bunch of 2,700 caliber players. So it's going to be an interesting round for sure.
Yeah, I've been trying to bring up all those games as you mentioned them. So as you said, we have Gadakomsky playing here with the white pieces. You already mentioned, of course. We have Jaime taking on Mukin 1. Grischuk having just lost, but still gets paired with another Grandmaster. That's always fun.
Yep.
So where to go? We also have Alexander Lenderman taking on yet another American Grandmaster with 2 points, but Sam Sevion and Lenderman are throwing down as well in round 4. This game is actually looking like it's going to be crazy very quickly, so maybe we'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, that's definitely your style of position there. Where,
well, this is my bullet style for sure. I mean, this is how blunders are made, not to be confused with how other things are made. Where to go? Where do you want to take this?
Great question. Let's see.
Look at this.
I think we should start with.
This is just a horrible position for both sides. I mean, I can't recommend anybody plays this way.
Yeah, I mean, look at the black position with pawn on f6, g6, knight on f7. That's not ideal, but look at white's pawn structure as well. It's kind of off. So.
Yeah, that's why this is bullet chess. All right. Well, let's check out the game going on between Andreasian and Arm Composer, since this is a battle between 2 countrymen in Armenia. If we trust the flags, though Arm Composer not a confirmed player just as yet. No, is a confirmed player, but not confirmed to the public. And currently pushing an edge here as black, so Andreasian going to have to prove a draw here, I think, in an endgame where black has a tiny bit of an edge, but maybe not really anything, actually. Now white is threatening rook d7. Probably black has to stop that.
Yeah, it looks, if you can cover the 7th rank, they're an even number. Oh, bishop b6, strange decision. Wow, those are bad pawns. I don't like that decision at all. Because, yeah, exactly. Rook d5, swing that over to b5. And how are you protecting your pawn on b6? You're going to have to get passive defense by either swinging your rook, let's say a4 to a6, or moving your knight back to like rook e6 followed by a knight move. But that's looking very good for white. Strange. Very, very strange.
And kind of boring.
Let's see. What else is going on here? Wow, the game between Jaime Santos and Mukin 1.
Yeah, this is nutty.
Oh, it's a monstrous center and kingside for black, whereas white has much less space. Some additional space in the queen side, but in the center here, f4, of course, comes naturally.
Black is about to blow things open here. This is going to be a huge problem. Okay, white. I was going to say white has to consider. Can you go h5 and even take e8, try to win the exchange, and then hold on for dear life?
I'm worried about pawn takes g3 there, though.
Sacrificing the queen?
No, I mean queen f5, bishop e8, now pawn takes g3.
I was going to say, no. Okay, here this makes a little more sense, and that's what he's going to go for.
Although, is black in time here, right? Because queen f2, I just go king h1. Maybe it's not the end of the world, but then the queen has to be able to move from f2 to threaten knight f2 mate. So queen f2, king h1, queen back to f5. You cannot take my knight on e4 because then queen f1's mate. But I guess you have bishop e3 always for black. So, whoa, pawn takes d4, threatening bishop takes g3, queen f2 stuff. But this is a whole rook.
Yeah, this is crazy. Black has an insane attack here. Bishop takes c6. White's just going to call his bluff and say, well, are you mating me? Because I don't see it. Here, black's going to see if he can prove the mate. Does he just have knight takes g3, pawn takes, and then queen takes? And then there's a mate on h2? No. So he has to take back on c6.
So now knight takes g3 is a big threat, and then queen takes g3 mating on h2. That looks
Right,
pretty...
and you know what's crazy in that position is you didn't even have rook takes e4 as a defensive resource if you were white, because queen f1 check immediately would have been mate for black. Crazy.
Yeah, well, and what is rook f3?
Threatening rook takes g3.
Oh, bishop f4. Maybe
Bishop f4. This is insane.
What is going on here? How could that be a good move? Rook f1 now, but then pawn takes g3 or something like that?
Rook f1 even no.
No. Pawn takes g3 doesn't work because queen takes f3. So rook f1. Did white just get out of this?
White is doing his best to get out of it. He's going to have to simplify in the endgame, but black actually still has some compensation.
Whoa, knight f2, knight h3 check is a draw.
Amazing.
Look at this, just repetition over here. What in the world?
That was crazy. Probably one of the fanciest ways to get a draw that I've seen this side of the equator since summer of '73. And you know what happened that summer. Wow, that was nuts. All right, so other games still going. 2 of our tournament leaders have come to a peaceful result. We have a million places to go, as I said. Back over to this game here between Andreasen and Arm Composer. Not much has changed here.
Yeah, in this all Armenia matchup, still better for Zavin with the white pieces. Although now it looks like b4 is an option for black. It's right now. You can always just, okay, traded on d4 first, saying that I'm going to put my rook on f5. Nothing bad is going to happen to me.
Apparently your camera is frozen, Robert. Maybe not quite sure how to fix that. Maybe stop your video and bring it back.
Sure.
You can just be a ghost next to me, and I can be talking to a black void. There you go. Now you're back.
Hopefully I'm back.
That is such an adorable face right there.
Well, I guess only you get to see my facial changes here. Oh, and there I am. I'm back.
Yeah, that would have been pretty funny, Sam. Sam suggesting that when you were frozen, I should have done more to make fun of you. But
well, I'm back. In this endgame, speaking of back, it looks like just rook f6, take g6. Classic 2 pawns beat 1 in the rook and pawn ending here. So king g4 is a good starting place. Just go rook g8 even. Doesn't matter how precise you are. Put your rook behind the b pawn, push your pawns, and just go.
Andreasen once again showing why he's one of the best blitz and bullet players on our site.
Yep.
And if he plays f5, okay, he decides to bring the king in first, trying to make sure he's in a position where he can easily give up the rook for the b pawn and just win with 2 pawns against the rook. And,
Danny, I hate to switch at this moment, but the game between Lenderman and Sevian is
super
crazy.
No, I'm there. Bananas. Let's take a look. He's down a rook, yet somehow Lenderman has no progress. He just blundered. Queen takes d3, keeps the rook.
What?
I think
he won on time.
He won on time playing a move that Sevian couldn't calculate, but queen takes d3 just kept the rook because there was no queen takes e6.
Wow, that's
due to
just...
the pin. Was that a swindle by Lenderman who knew what he was doing?
I think Lenderman was swindling, and he's still winning anyway in this end.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to say winning, but he's better as if a pawn in the ending, and the h4 pawn looks very weak. So Lenderman...
One note as well to give Alex some credit. He's actually streaming right now. So although all of you here with us at Twitch TV/chess, chess.com TV, we thank you. But Lenderman is one of the top players who's streaming his games as he's playing right now. So pretty fun stuff. All right. Grischuk did not win yet again. So another super tough game for the top Russian former World Blitz champion. Lots of other games still going, but amongst the leaders, not exactly sure.
I see a game between Dr. Wittmann and Chess Max USA, and Chess Max USA won on time. White was completely winning in this position and flagged.
I'm taking a look. Where is this?
The game between Chess Max USA and
But that's not still going now.
No, it just ended. White was up like how many? 4 pawns in flag.
Only one game still going. About to get to a very instructive Philidor position. Shout out to Sam Copeland, who just subscribed with a note for us, Robert. Alexander Swindleman. So shout out to Sam. Thank you for the subscription. And now Black should be able to take this one home. King to g3 is lights out.
King g3, hoping king h1, you take on f2 with the queen stalemate, but of course not.
Nope.
Deliver it.
Not going to happen. Not gonna stalemate here today. And just like that, we move on to round 5.
Yep.
With a quick look at the standings.
We have a forced Armenian matchup between Tigran Petrosian and Zavin Andreasyan.
As that game gets underway here above us, we've got a quick look at roughly the top 20 players right now, everybody. Only 2 still remaining at the top with 4 out of 4, as Robert just said, a battle between Armenian blitz specialists. Everyone remembers Tigran Petrosian was one of our first ever qualifiers for the Speed Chess Championship a year or 2 ago when he got absolutely smashed by Magnus Carlsen. So good times to remember that. Anish Giri right there with 3.5 out of 4. Along with many other household names, including Danya Naroditsky. He's not going anywhere. He's sitting there at 3 out of 4, Robert. So Naroditsky.
This is Lenderman's 3rd straight matchup versus another American grandmaster. He beat Akobian, he beat Sevian, and now he gets his chance to play Daniel Naroditsky here.
Yep, bringing that game above us right now, and we'll move back to taking a look at that one. As you said, Lenderman taking on Naroditsky. These guys have played each other more than a few times.
Yep, and just really big matchups here. I think we have to focus on Tigran Petrosian and Zavin Andreasyan because they're the top board. And so far, not super duper interesting with the white pieces. Petrosian can go after this b7 pawn, right? He's got this bishop on g2 that has an open diagonal. The problem for white is his pawn on d3. It's isolated. It's a clear target. As soon as black plays bishop back to g6 or knight to c5, the d3 pawn looks like it might be collapsing at any second. The good news for white is, again, this bishop on g2 aims at this pawn on b7. So a move like knight h4 actually opens up that bishop to attack the pawn. So, knight h4 here might be a good move, in fact.
Slightly, I was going to say maybe queen b1 first. Oh, no, he decides you're right. Time to be aggressive rather than worry about anything with the rook on the open
knight
file.
c5 here, right? Just protect b7, attack d3.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, he takes c4 first. He must be intending to just save the pawn a different way. How is that? Is he going to play knight b6? No, b5. Okay. Takes advantage of the pin, saving the pawn on b7 and attacking the pawn on c4 at the same time.
So my first instinct is somehow to play queen f... Oh,
he goes for it. He hears your instincts, and he trusts you.
So bishop g6.
Bishop g6, he'll take it and then play queen g4, I think, which defends the c4 pawn and gets the queen out of harm's way.
Okay, so bishop g5 play. The bishop on d2 is no longer hanging, but maybe bishop g6 here, exactly. So you just trade on g6, takes back with the pawn, h-pawn, and it looks like we might be approaching...
Yeah, the queen has no good squares, at least not any that defend the c4 pawn. Yeah, black's going to take c4.
Could have played bishop takes f6 and entered an opposite colored bishop position, but I guess white is trying for more with the 2 bishops, but I don't see why you would do this. I mean, where's the full compensation here? Queen to b6 now, hit b2.
Yeah, no, you're right. This is tough. I still have a hard time believing white will be worse, because if the queens come off, it feels like white should be able to somehow come after the c4 pawn. But there goes e4. Andreasyan's not going to just trade queens voluntarily.
Exactly. Take on b6, take on f6, play rook d4. Okay, I'll play a4, but e3 at some moment is going to be good for black.
a4 was a really nice positional move, though, trying to prevent black from reuniting his pawns together. But I like bishop e5. I feel like your instincts are right, Robert, that at some point white will just give in, take on f6, and we're probably going to have an obscure bishop draw. But Petrosian is really trying hard to keep his small dynamic advantage of the 2 bishops on the board.
Yeah, but down the pawn, I'm just worried about it's one of those positions where you leave your little advantage on the board for too long, and you don't liquidate into something that actually gives you better drawing chances, and the other side can come back. But actually, you know what? The bishop e3 is a good move. Coming after the
black has
pawn.
to defend. Oh, okay, rook c8.
So rook c. Oh,
Rook can't go to c1, but you can move the bishop to a number of squares. I was wondering, where do you want to put the bishop? I would have loved to have kept it on the a2, f7 diagonal, but decides he can't.
Wait, but now rook c1, and then I'm throwing a take on c5. Rook a8 here.
Yeah, rook a. Oh, but is a5 coming?
I'm worried about a5. That's why I want to go rook a8. I just want to sacrifice the b pawn and get the a pawn. So,
yeah, I'm wondering if that was a mistake there by Andreassian. This a pawn is suddenly a nightmare.
Well, rook a8, I guess, and just play knight d3 first, and then play rook a8. And the problem is his bishop is not getting out, and black is going to try to go c4, c3, c2 himself. So,
some strange moves like I was going to say rook c3 or rook c4. There's ideas of f3 where you undermine the knight, and if they take a6, it's pinned. So I wonder if that's.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, he goes for bishop g2.
Oh, if f5 rook takes d3 was a big shot.
That would have been super nice. Everybody, look at this tactic. Bishop g2 set up a trap. If f5, rook takes d3 was lights out. Very nice.
So black offered a draw here. I doubt white will accept, but I don't see how black loses this game.
Yeah.
Play rook d6. Play rook f6. Play something like that.
Play
but
anything.
The problem
Put the rook on a dark square and close your eyes.
No, but the black can't move, right? The king is stuck to this knight on f8. So maybe there's a way for white just.
You can play g5, g6, king g7. Yeah, here he goes. There's not. White doesn't have enough time. I agree that if there was a way to clamp down the king side, maybe.
Well,
but
this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to win a pawn. So g5 allows me to attack it.
Okay, knight h7 or even knight e6. Go to the rook ending, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Knight e6 is getting 3-on-2. This is probably smart.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is getting closer to a draw. So what other games do we have? Whoa, this Mukin-Firouzja game is crazy. What is going on here on the second board matchup?
Let me go take a look.
Firouzja is about to flag, and also got the queen trap.
Whoa. Okay, well, tough result there for Firouzja. This Mukin is playing some of the most crazy attacking chess we've seen in quite a while. Kleinbier is also on 4 out of 5, as ChessBase saying in the chat. Lenderman did manage to get a completely lost position against Naroditsky.
Wait, Lenderman's white, so Lenderman's completely winning.
Okay, sorry, confused my colors. Yeah. So Lenderman going to be taking down Danya here. One that's super interesting here is the one between Anish Giri and Jaime Santos.
Wait a second, isn't Jaime Santos up a piece? What just happened?
Pretty, yeah. We missed the combination that led to it, but somehow white ends up winning a piece at the end of that. So we're going to have another one of the top players fall here. Upsets galore. We've already seen Jaime Santos take down Grischuk, right? And now
I see where Giri blundered. So after c1,
but he won the piece right back. White just blundered the piece right back. Okay,
but Giri blundered. Oh, this is ridiculous. The way this whole game is in a blunderfest, it looks like. But right now with the black pieces, what white should do is go f3, g4, exactly, king g3, try to play it slow and offer a queen trade at any point possible.
Yeah.
And queen e3 is a good move. And you need to be able to actually get the move h5 and to break open this king a little bit more. The problem is by trading off too many pawns, you're not leaving yourself with many left. So, okay, h5 was traded. So now queen takes f7. If queen h5, take. This is a drawn position. King g5, king f3, king f5, and you're in opposition and you're making a draw. So what a blunderfest this was. I mean, where Giri blundered, I think, is a move. Well, he was already worse, I guess, but he thought that he was getting a queen. And he did that on move 36. And after bishop takes c1, you cannot play queen to b1, pinning the bishop, which looks like a good opportunity because queen c8 check, followed by bishop c2 check, wins that black queen.
Which move are you talking about?
On move 37 for black, if you play queen to b1 instead of bishop takes c1, there's queen c8 check, followed by bishop c2 check, winning the queen on b1. So,
shout out to Face Chess for the cheer. Face Chess, you're melting our faces with your support of the show today. Face melt, Face Chess. Thank you for all the love. All right, well, So there you go. That's the tactic you were talking about. Where are we at in terms of the standings after this round? I know there's still a few games going, but there's Tigran Petrosian and Zavin Andreassian did draw. So along with Mukin, who just won another great attacking game, we have 3 players on 4.5 out of 5, and I don't think anybody can catch them. Are we in for a either Grigori versus Anish Giri or Gatakomsky versus Anish Giri this round?
That would be cool. We're Giri versus Matlikov versus Borscht 7. So we have a super GM matchup on that board. We have Zavin Andreassian playing Fedoseev. We have Mukin playing Tigran Petrosian. We have Lenderman playing Oparin. So we have some great matchups there towards the top. Plenty of very strong players, and the action just doesn't slow down at all.
Yeah, I think those 4 games are where we'll keep it. We'll try to bounce back and forth here between Mukin and Petrosian, Fedoseev and Andreassian. Here's Giri's game. And then, of course, we have Lenderman taking on Grigori.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we have Kleinbier versus Chessmax USA. So 2 international masters, by far, with no offense meant towards them, the weaker players towards the top of the leaderboard here. Didici, I don't know who that is either. That's another international master. So somehow these IMs have made their way towards the top.
Well, partly that's one of the benefits of not being rated like 2,900 is you don't have to play a 2,700 in the early round. You get to play some players closer to your strength. So, and again, because now guess what the pairings say? They get to play each other here rather than being fed to one of the sharks. So one of these players might be about to move to 5 out of 6. We'll keep an eye on that. Interesting.
For sure. So which game do we want to keep an eye on
Let's
here?
take a look at this game between Giri and Borscht 7, as we've seen a super aggressive approach on the king side. Black has already completely blown open his king, and we'll see if Giri can turn that into an attack of his own. Knight d6. Something feels very suspect here for Black.
The g5 moves are actually thematic, but oftentimes you play f5, g5, and gain some space on the king side. The issue at the moment, of course, is that Black's king side looks very airy, right? The king on g8 looks a little bit alone.
Yep.
If Black takes on c4 now, it's like people may be asking, isn't that just a free pawn? And you do win a pawn, right? D takes c4. I cannot prevent you from going up a pawn after this move. But the drawback for Black is that eventually when his bishop moves it away from the e3 square, I can go pawn e4 unopposed. And that's a very important inclusion for White. So, it's a very interesting decision by Giri, and Black has all of a sudden started using a lot of time. So I think it's a good decision in this game. And let's see what else is going on.
He plays f5. Again, I brought up the analysis board to show everybody the line you were just talking about there. But it's a good lesson that once you've already opened up your king, you really want to be careful before you start opening up the rest of the board. And that's exactly why a line like this, Robert was just saying, would look good at first, but really have potentially devastating problems if White starts being really aggressive and this king is going to be weak. So f5 and bishop f6, at the very least, those moves sort of keep the center closed for now. And as long as the center is closed, it's not as easy for White to try to focus on this king. So,
the very essential point is that keeping the king side closed and the center closed is worth the pawn.
Absolutely, right? Black must have this structure maintained or his king will eventually really regret its position. So Giri maintaining the tension, but one of the ideas for White, as impossible as it looks for him to get here, is to try to move the knight from f3 and eventually try to play f3 and e4 yourself. So here Black has played g4, but don't be surprised if White relocates the pieces and tries to play moves like f3 and e4 himself at some point. Maybe Black gets the attack going on the h-file before Giri has time. Nope, he plays f3.
And f3 comes, and then I'm going to take on g4, and I don't think Black is quite in time here.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I was about to highlight that you want to move the knight and build up this light square breakthrough anyway, so g4 kind of surprised me because I like the transition here for Giri. The more the position opens up. Okay, I'm not sure he can play a move like g4 right away, but at some point, if I'm White, I play bishop f4, tempo on the knight, look to maybe use the e-file and try to look for a chance to shoot g4 through.
Yeah, definitely, because the knight can just retreat to f1, right? So rook f2 he's playing. This gives you 2 options. One is to move your bishop away from g2, but the knight going to f1, everything on the h-file is under control. So I like your move rook e1 better, Danny, because the rook on f2 is, what's the rook doing here? If the rook was on e1, then the king would have access to the f2 square, and everything would look pretty. And the rook on e1, applies pressure on the e-file. So rook e1, I think, better than rook f2, but still white not unhappy to be in the position that he's currently in.
Yeah, and I think he might change his mind and go rook e2 followed by bishop f2, Robert. Again, similar. Maybe you don't play bishop f2 before trading on g6, but I think I would be surprised if white doesn't try to start using the e-file rather than sitting on the position as is. Okay. He takes bishop f4 with tempo. Now rook e2.
Whoa, yeah. Rook e2 looks pretty good. Also, Danny, what caught my eye was this game between Andreasen and Fedoseev, because currently Andreasen's up a piece, but black has all sorts of compensation. 2 pawns for the piece. White's king is not very happy right now. It's a bit unsafe.
Let me bring it up so the fans can see it. We'll keep the analysis board focused on Giri's game. Okay, yeah, wow, this is an absolutely crazy position. Fedoseev seems to be in control despite being down a piece. Feels like this attack is getting something.
So, if I'm white, don't you just knight g3? Look at that intermediate move.
Very nice. Actually, I didn't see that, and that prevents queen takes h3. I'm changing my vote. I think that white is just going to defend and win this game, and Fedoseev won't have enough for the attack.
I mean, that was beautiful by Andreasen. He's up a piece for 2 pawns.
Yep.
And he can afford even to give up another pawn if he gets those queens off the board. So that was brilliant. And now if you're white, let's see, how do you continue here? Knight f5 is tempting, but it runs into c4. So you have to be careful before making moves like knight f5. Well, then maybe there's queen g5 after that. So, I do want to get my knight to f5 and start trying to checkmate you. Trading pieces on the e-file, so wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Maybe even queen d3.
Ooh, queen d3 I like a lot. Take, queen d3. Trade those queens off. Trade the queens off.
Should be
there
in good
it is.
shape. Okay, he finds it. All right, but back to the game between Giri and Borsch that we've been keeping our eye on the analysis board. Feels like Giri defended off the attack well enough, but does he really have an edge big enough to claim that white's better? I don't know.
I don't really see any edge.
Yeah,
because
in fact, here comes bishop to h5, and okay, so this is going to be a crazy one. Again, let's keep the analysis board focused on it and move over. Check on the game between 2 of the other leaders, which looks like it's just headed for a draw. Petrosian and Mukin are just deadlocked and a completely boring rook ending. So we're not going to focus too much on that.
Yeah, it looked earlier like white was better, but looks like Petrosian held very well.
Andreasen's going to take this one home.
Okay, Giri game heating up. Both kings are now unsafe, but white is getting to the attack first. It looks like queen a8 check, picks up the rook on g8.
But there is queen b5 at the end.
Exactly, queen b5. King e1, queen b4 check, king e2. I think you can run your king up in a zigzag fashion. Or queen b4 check, king d1, there's no more checks. So,
yeah, it looks like white gets out.
For queen d3, rook c7. You're getting mated too quickly.
Okay, but here now there's queen g7, queen e5. The queen comes back to e2.
Oh, or not. Okay,
probably just a game of tickle.
So what's he doing? Queen c. Okay.
A number of ways to play the position. I don't know exactly why he chose the path he did, but to each his own.
Yeah, now bishop f1. And then queen g7 check. Okay, just playing calmly. That was interesting technique by Giri here, but he's just so winning that queen g7 check traded the queens off right away. Bishop h5 check wins in the spot. Okay, so I don't really know what's going on here. Both sides sort of, they have no time left. Wow, Malikov made that move with no time on his clock and then flagged. Whew. Let's go to the Lenderman game, since that's a pawn ending where it looks like black being Oparin just wins the game because the queen comes to f5, queen comes to c8, stopping the pawn.
Yeah, Lenderman throws in the towel, in fact.
Just craziness all around. So Zavin Andreasen is in clear first. They're beating Fedoseev. I don't think we even caught much of that game, if any of it. But wow. Oh, we did catch that game. That was the piece up game where
yeah. On 5.5 out of 6, he's in clear first. But the only top 10 GM that we know of maintaining pace with the field right now is Anish Giri. Grischuk with 4.5 out of 6, which would seem bad, but knowing how strong the field is here, it's pretty tough. Okay, so what games do we have still going? Our pick of 4. Let's check out Fiorja's game.
Whoa, this game is an ending.
Yeah.
Where both sides are about to queen. So
But looks like
G7,
white gets there first, and will it lead to mate with queen d8? We're going to find out.
Knight d6 check at the very minimum. You pick up this rook. But maybe you have more.
Maybe you have more, yeah. Okay, the other knight you'd like to get in, but only 3 seconds for him to decide. He decides to go for it.
Wait, queen b2 check.
King g6, queen g2 check. The king tucks itself on h7, and he's safe.
Queen d7, king c5, queen c7.
He's got queen b2. Sorry, queen g7, winning the queen on b2 at the end.
So now knight d7 check, king d5, knight f6 check, king c5.
Got to be over, right? Queen and knight have to have something here.
Oh, knight a4 check, king c5, knight a4 check.
Fork down. Queen has to sacrifice herself.
Oh, but king takes d6? Queen d8?
Yeah, it's not so simple. He's going to get queen e5, but is it going to be...
This is not losing.
Oh, but the queen guards e3. There's no rook e3 check. Here comes queen d6. The king is going to try to inch his way in.
Just king runs the c6. Now, black cannot lose this game. Well, you can. It's blitz. But black should not lose this game. Yeah. And, in fact, black is the only one with any sort of chances to win. But no.
Wow.
That was a crazy position.
Absolutely nuts. Wow, it feels like there had to be some sort of mate there when the queen and two knights were going against the black king. But Fiorja unable to find it in time pressure. And... Okay, but the black king is maybe getting himself in trouble here. Likely not going to be enough trouble to ever lose.
Oh, that f4 pawn's falling.
Wow, who's playing for the win here?
I think black has to be right now. Yeah, but I guess the king can't really run too far. Oh, queen d4 check, king h5. I guess your king's still running. The f pawn.
Such a nice position when everybody guards each other, right? The pawn guards the bishop guards the rook. Just super easy for black to play aggressively, even in time pressure, when you know you're not one move away from blundering.
Yeah, this is now winning for rook g4 check first.
Followed by f2, and it's over.
Rook c4 check, or f2, I guess doesn't matter. King f3. The king just runs to g2, it looks like.
Yeah.
King g3, don't blunder your rook. Now play bishop f3.
Oh, he's got a nice tactic. Bishop c4, ending the game, everybody, if queen takes. It's Red Rover. We don't have a skewer emote for Twitch TV/chess. We've said that many times, but that was a nice way to bring it to a close. And it happened to be the last game. Just like that, we move on to the next round.
We do.
And I think we have a pretty obvious choice of where to start with Andreasen versus Mukin.
Yep. Andreasen versus Mukin. We have Giri versus Petrosian. We have, where's our buddy Mr. Komsky? Because he's doing really well. We have Jaime.
Komsky is taking on...
I don't see his game
I actually don't know.
So he'll be up there soon. And we have Bassam Amin versus Grischuk. So Grischuk's only a point behind Zavin. And wait, how come Oparin has 5.5 out of 7? Did they draw in 2 seconds?
That's why there's no game. I was just about to say, I looked at the standings and I saw a draw, but that's why. Grigori...
They drew each other. They didn't even play the game? There's 0 moves made in that game.
I didn't even know that was possible to take a draw with 0 moves.
That is weird.
That's definitely thumbs down from all of us on not entertaining us with a quality chess game. So shame on them, but makes sense as to why the game ended so quickly. All right, well then where do we go?
Let's go to Andreasen versus Mukin is an all Armenian matchup. So the Armenians doing very well in this event, but so far it's come from a Petrov. It's not too exciting. The game between Petrosian and Giri looks a little bit better, at least for the time being.
Okay, I agree.
With the white pieces, Petrosian has more space. His pawn on d5 is doing well. But at the same time, black is about to unleash some fury on the queen side. Now, b5 came, c4 can come next. Queen b7 will come at the right moment. Rook d8 followed by e6. I see all these themes for black to attack the pawn d5. And what ideally you'd have for white is the king back on g1 and a bishop back on g2. Obviously, we can't put pieces back on the board. So in lieu of that, this is going to be a bit of a struggle here.
Yep.
So now knight takes d5. Okay, that would be a blunder because knight takes d5 back and e7's falling. But the point is that knight on e5 is also unprotected. So queen b7 here protects e7 and attacks d5. And now the knight on e5 is under attack.
Yeah, but Giri can just take his time. Doesn't even need to rely on tactics to win it back, right? Just gang up on the d-pawn. And as you said, the lack of the light square bishop is really White's problem.
Yeah, this is terrible for White. Knight
Yeah,
G4.
not sure exactly what happened in the opening here for Petrosian. Maybe Giri busting out some super GM prep, huh?
Maybe, but here, I mean, so many different options. You can just take on G4 and take on D5. You can play a move like maybe Knight A6 is possible. Just go Knight C7, Knight E4. Look at that. I love that move.
That
the point
is a nice move.
The Knight on G4 isn't doing anything, and the Knight on E3 and Knight on G4 step on each other's toes.
Yep.
So I'm going to ignore the D pawn and make progress on the queen side.
Although now if White does get E4, he may regret that he didn't take it when he had the chance.
Well, if White plays E4, F5, I expect. Okay, A5 first, but I was thinking F5 was coming.
But I agree that it seems like White still had a lot of untying to do, but it's possible Knight E4 will be seen as first looks good, but maybe was fancier than White needed to be. Shout out to New Jersey. Greg just showed up in the chat, gave us a yell, and Face Chess donated another 1,000 bits that I forgot to shout out. Face Chess, we love you.
This is not going the way that Giri wanted.
Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I feel like I had the first reaction that you did to Knight E4, but as soon as F3 and E4 was established, it's hard to feel like Black didn't miss an opportunity when that D pawn was just hanging.
Yeah, what's going on here? So the D3 square is Black's for the taking, but it's not a very important square, and C6 is White's for the taking, but how important is that? I can always sacrifice an exchange in order to get to C6.
Look at this move. Queen F4 threatened Knight E6 check, and Giri has re-walked his king back to E8, Robert. When was the last time you walked your king back to E8?
I'm into it right now. I like
you're
that.
Into it? You like it?
Yeah, I do. I really like it. So now Knight, okay, pawn C3. Look at this. Queenside expansion trying to get compensation.
F3 is under attack.
Rook D3. Oh, Rook D3 hangs A5, I guess. But
D4 is hanging.
We have a Rook D3, Bishop takes A5, Rook A8.
Yeah, I was going to say Rook. I like it. Rook A8, and at the end of these lines, the D4 knight is hanging.
And not only that, the knight on H6 is actually very poorly placed because queen on H4 is sort of stuck here. Knight takes F7 is an idea at some point to take over the E6 square, take out the pawn on H7. So knight takes F7, you have to keep an eye out on.
I would just play B4 here if I'm. Ooh, he finds an even stronger tactic. He's going to take F3. He's going to take F3. Watch out for not only winning the piece back, but look for E4 to potentially fall with tactics where all of a sudden every piece comes to life against the white king here.
Oh, this is amazing for Black. Rook C8 coming next even. Oh, actually Rook C8 doesn't threaten the Rook C3, so maybe take your time because E5 now clearly a threat, so Knight C4 takes care of that. Knight G4 should be played by White.
Knight G4 is pretty much the only move, I think, for Petrosian, and he finds it. Bishop back to G7. He's just going to renew the threat with H5 coming.
Yeah, this is beautiful for Black.
Yeah. King G2. Okay, even F5, the move you mentioned earlier, should still be on the docket, given that there is this
I love F5. Danny, I love it.
I love F5. I love you. And F5. There you go.
Oh.
Awkward.
Not awkward at all. I love you too, Danny.
By the way, where's been the Hess Bay love today? Not a lot of Hess Bay use of that emote. Speaking of love that's happened in Twitch rooms.
By the way, Andreasen and Mukin drew their game.
Right, no big surprise there. Okay, knight back to E5. Queen E2. There goes Hess Bay. All I had to do was ask for it.
Uh-oh. The infiltration of the Hess Bay emote.
Yep. Okay, Queen C2. Bishop H6. I like it. Do you take and... No. Queen B5. Poking at E2. Watch out. Knight C4. How does that not lose material? Nobody knows. Somehow it doesn't.
Wait, isn't this Knight takes C4 free knight?
It does lose material.
Oh, nice.
I have no idea, but there's mate on H8. Petrosian is swindling his way to keep this one alive.
Is pawn E6 a move here? The idea being that I meet, I have E7 square, but...
E5, right, E5 kind of does the same thing, but of course White doesn't have to en passant.
But now I'm kind of concerned about this ending. I guess A4, B3 comes so quickly that I shouldn't be concerned because you're forced to put your rook behind the pawn. What is Rook C7, A4?
Yeah, Rook C7 is a bad move.
B3?
There's no time.
Oh, wait, B3, D7.
D3, E7, King E7. Oh, Rook C8.
Rook C8.
Oh.
So maybe this was actually a really smart maneuver there by Petrosian. Now still B3, B2. So that's the real problem for White. Is that even if you've taken this F pawn, my point is to tie your rook down exactly
as soon as you get your rook stuck on B1, Black is in complete control, and that's what's about to happen.
Yeah, up a pawn, complete control of the position. Yep. Can't move your rook ever. Yeah,
Zugzwang. And the point, everybody, is that if this king, if they ever trade on b2, black easily wins the king and pawn ending. If the king ever runs away, now the king just gets closer, and Petrosian is completely lost. King d4 was probably even easier than king c4, but Giri playing the instinctive opposition move, and it's over. So, instructive rook ending there from Anish Giri, and he moves to 6 out of 7, really getting his mojo going. One of the things that hasn't been discussed, although I know Anish is thinking about it just from the conversations I had from him. Okay, we got to move to this crazy game here. Only a couple seconds left. Face Chess coming through again with another cheer, another football giveaway. Look at this crazy game. Big Fedoseev is about to get mated.
Fedoseev, yeah, with the black pieces. I mean, he's down a piece. The Lenderman game was the one that caught my eye.
Yeah, let's go over to that one as well. I kind of wanted to see the finish.
Yeah, let's go back to the Fedoseev game.
Well, it doesn't really matter. I don't know where to go. Okay, Fedoseev did lose, and then Arn Composer won. Darn it! Indecision killed the cat. I couldn't quite catch either of those endings with the timing that I wanted to, and before you know it, the next round begins. Look who's worked his way back into having a say of the final standings. Sasha Grischuk.
Yep. Taking
on Mukin with 5.5, but the game we have to focus on, since it's been the best performance so far by the biggest name in the tournament, Anish Giri, sitting with 6 points right near the top of the standings. Pretty much only trailing right now. No, he's completely tied with Andreassian.
Yep, Andreassian and Jaime Santos Latasa. So Jaime Santos is doing very well, in addition playing Oparin. So Giri with the white pieces, typical slight advantage, more space in the opening. The point of black structure now is at some point you want to take on d4 and take control over the c5 square for that black knight.
Yep.
So the problem with taking on d4 is you allow knight takes d4, and then the pawn on d6 is backwards. It can become a target. So black chooses between two options: taking on the d4 or letting white either play d5 or take on e5 himself. So rook b1, good waiting move. Now, okay, takes on d4 makes sense.
No, and this is a Boleslavsky whole structure, everybody. One of the things that will define or give a clue to us over who's going to win is, let's see who ends up having to defend their weak pawn first. Does white force black to start playing moves like bishop f8, maybe sometimes other retreating moves because of the pressure to d6? Or does black manage to keep enough pressure on the open e-file, and you combine that with tactics on the diagonal? That's why you see this a-pawn running up the board, trying to sort of weaken some of the potential pieces here. So this is sort of a very typical struggle in this structure. The move knight h5 sometimes also has ideas of f5, which is another way that black will look to strike at the center. I personally am biased to white in these types of positions because I played the g3 King's Indian for so long, Robert, and I feel like it's only a matter of time before white can really start to bring the pain on the d-file. And so I'm just going to say that. So I like white. Your turn.
No, I'm completely agreeing. White often is better because the pawn on d6 is an easier target to apply pressure on. You have more space. Yeah, this a-pawn actually can become a weakness at some point, especially if where's it going from here? If you go to a3, I just go pawn b3. I'm not worried about that.
Yep.
And already there are ideas where you move this knight from d4, hit the d6 pawn, threaten to go pawn e5, so knight f3 exactly.
And that's exactly what's I expect knight e8 to be the move, or maybe queen c7 has to be played first to help with e5.
Queen c7, e5.
Yeah, queen c7, e5 anyways. Ooh, he's going to sacrifice the d6 pawn, trying to trade it for the c4 pawn, but something tells me, that was a desperate tactic, because after d6 falls, so many other things become weak in black's position.
Yeah, and if you remove the knight from c3, the bishop on c4 is under attack, and the knight on c5 behind it. So knight b1 here.
Yeah, knight to b1, right, or e5. Robert, e5 takes c5, and then knight e4 with tempo on the queen.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. So knight d5, well, wait, if you go knight d5...
knight d7, though, defends it. So he's still... But yeah, white is a tactic away from really punishing black structure, and Giri's going to use his 20-second edge on the clock to try to find it.
Just knight e4 here. If you play knight takes c4, but queen takes c4. I get the two bishops.
I like it.
Then I hang the e5 pawn at the end. No.
There's also d6 falling. But then I take with the pawn, and that pawn is very strong.
Yeah, so 94, queen c4, knight takes d6.
So he goes for it, though. He agrees with you, and I like it. You know what there is, too? There's shots at some point with rook e7 hitting f7. Knight g5 is potentially something to keep in the air.
Well, I like this move, knight b6. You just plug that knight on d5 and try to win the d6 pawn. Pawn on b2 is still under attack. So here I'd play a move either queen h4 or queen f4. One of these two moves. I think queen f4 runs right into knight d5. So maybe I don't
Yeah,
want
but
to do
can you? No, you can't sack. Never mind. I want to say I could sack on d5, but queen can take it, and there's no real concrete tactic.
Queen h4. Wait, queen h4. What do you do? Because queen h4, knight d5. I have knight g5, and after h6, I think I have bishop takes d5 there. Yeah, definitely bishop takes d5.
And then knight f7 and all kinds of stuff. Let me move to the analysis board so that the fans can follow our calculations.
Wow, there's so many games going on right now.
Yeah, every game is good right now, everybody. If you're not logged into the Chess.com live server, you should do that so you can choose your flavor. Yeah, he might get that exact tactic we talked about. You know what he has too, Robert? If h6, knight takes f7 first, then bishop takes d5, then rook e7.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was looking for, and that should be enough to win. Knight takes f7, king f7, bishop d5, and followed it up, as we said, with rook e7,
king g8, even just queen g4 at the end of the line.
Yeah, then there's rook takes d6. So I have to be careful about that. But it's a rook e7, king g8, maybe even d7, right? Like something. There's so many good-looking options here. Rook takes
I
g7.
like queen g4 because I just didn't see a way to stop. You're right. Okay, rook takes d6. I'm sorry.
Maybe queen f4 first. Okay,
he takes it. He's going to bring the queen to e7. Queen e6. Is he settling on a draw? No. Come on, Anish.
Yeah, why would you do this?
Why would he settle on a draw?
It looked very promising, but maybe there was nothing more. By the way, Grischuk is in total. Is he just lost against?
No, he wants more. Giri wants more than a draw. I couldn't leave. Sorry.
Oh no! Good
Very
thing
exciting.
You stayed.
Rook takes d5.
So what's going on?
Actually, I think he's just bluffing. He'll probably go back to pickle tickle right after this. Queen e7. I think it's just a game of tickle from here, and he's like, "Gotcha, Danny. You thought I wasn't going to go for a draw. Shame on you." Okay, well, if Giri brings this one to a close...
Whoa, look at Galakamski's game. What is going on there?
I'm there. What do we got?
2 knights versus 2 bishops, both kings exposed. It looks like the white king is doing much better than the black king, though, because that king has to go to h7, right? Unless you are...
But is there a move like rook e8 on the board right now, skewering the queen and the... he was in check. Duh, There was no rook e8.
Oh, look at this. Rook c7 check. Oh, but if you take on d8, bishop takes e4 check, intermezzo. So he's getting 2 minor pieces. Kamski's a genius. Just took the...
He really is. Like,
took
seriously.
the bishops. Put this knight to f5. Go knight g3, knight f5, win the h pawn, or play rook h7, something like that. Rook e7 check is almost checkmate.
Knight f6.
Yikes.
Got to be good enough. 2 knights are better than 1, like Twix. He's going to play knight e7, knight f5 now, everybody. And if there is no mate, he'll just take h6. Yeah, knight e7. Here comes knight f5. Okay. This one's going to be over. Kamski's going to win. Is Grischuk holding on here?
It doesn't look like it. It looks pretty bad. But maybe, because the bishop b6 is well to hold the c7 square. It's a central square. You do have queen b7 for white. It's on queen d7.
Yeah.
Why would you offer that trade?
Well, he's just simplifying, I guess.
But the queen b7 looked like it had rook c8, winning on the back rank.
Knight d2 here. Yeah, Grischuk isn't... Oh, there's knight f8. Knight f8's coming.
Wait, so he's trying to... Oh, he made a rook c8 mate. Mukin wins. And
wow.
Kamski... Wait, what did Kamski do?
Kamski didn't take it? Oh, and now he's blundering the knight.
Oh, no, Kamski.
Where did this one go wrong? Say it ain't so, Basil.
But does Gata have some off chances to make a draw here, because knight and 2 pawns can be tricky maybe against a queen? No, as a strong player, you never see this configuration, so perhaps there's a chance.
Yeah,
this is terrible. This is...
should be pretty straightforward if black can just get the king to e4. Here he goes.
It's a knight g6, queen f6 check, king h5.
Shout out to Chess Gamer Tag. Thank you for the sub.
King g7. Is there knight? No moves. Knight f4 is queen h6 mate. Queen h6 mate.
Game
wow,
over.
Mkhitaryan. I mean, Mkhitaryan was dead lost.
I feel like I don't even have time to emotionally process what's happening in these games. Like, every time some sort of like crazy ending happens, we're just like sitting here trying to reset, and before you know it, the standings have all kinds of shakeups. So Giri and Andreasen did settle on a draw. Unfortunately, Giri lives up to some of the jokes that are made about him. He turned an incredible attack into something that left both of us feeling unfulfilled, Robert. But he is still right there near the top of the standings. Mukin, who just took down the other top Blitz Grandmaster, who's already invited to the SEC, that being Grischuk. So Mukin joins the leaderboard with 6.5. And then a whole bunch of other really strong players still at 6 out of 8. Remember, everybody, it's 10 rounds today, so there's only 2 more games before we have our champion. If Giri takes the top spot, it will go to the next person in line. So there you go.
So in other words, people who are half point behind are rooting for Giri to take them all out. People tied for first are hoping they can survive against Giri long enough to win first place themselves.
Absolutely. Okay, well, the next set of games is underway. Round 9 begins. Giri gets paired against Oparian Grigori. We will keep our eye on that one.
Okay, and Mkhitaryan plays Mukin. Mkhitaryan, with that win over Komsky, pushes himself in first place, or tied for first. And yeah, we have players like Hrant Melkumian just half a point back, and Tigran Petrosian half a point back. So very loaded field here in the Speeches Championship qualifier.
Yeah, where to go? I've got the game between Mkhitaryan and Mukin 1 on the board. Of course, as we started with Giri versus Grigori. Andreasen taking on another 6.5, the only 6.5 that he hasn't played yet, I believe, and Jaime Santos.
Well, yeah, Andreasen's played everyone. Maybe he hasn't played Mkhitaryan. Maybe they have, I'm not sure. But so 3 Armenians tied for first. So let's start with this Mkhitaryan game against Mukin 1. And with the white pieces, Mkhitaryan saying, I'm going to build up a slow, steady positional advantage. I'm going to try to play queen c2, move my knight away from d2 to, say, c4, play bishop f4, and slow and steady wins the race. On the other hand, knight d7, the retreating move that was just played, I don't know. Is it trying to go knight e5 now? Because I'll take and no, so b5. Okay. So knight e3, I guess you just go e6 and just make sure that knight's not getting into d5. Or knight b6. Wait, so knight d5, the bishop's not open. I thought the bishop on g2 was open. There's knight on f3 in its way, so never mind. Knight d5, the tactics I wanted to employ do not work. So what can you do instead here? Yeah. What can you do?
Tactics denied.
I feel very rejected, honestly.
Yep.
It hurts. Andreasen, by the way, playing a very open position.
Yeah, I was just about to check on that one here. Andreasen playing risk it to get the biscuit chess here. I mean, this is...
White is queen f3, it hits f6 and it hits a8. I was about to say, that looks like a
win of material?
Yep.
Rook c5 will be played now. Lucky he guards d8. Okay, he decides to bring the queen back.
So, there's definitely compensation. That bishop on g7 is a monster.
Yep.
And so if you can get away from any of these back rank checkmating ideas and play h5, king h7, go bishop, bring your bishop out from c8, you certainly have compensation here. So
yeah, h5 a nice patient move. Just going to do exactly as you said, prioritize unpinning the bishop on c8, get the king out of check's way. Yep, he does that. I agree. And now, there's even ideas like rook c5 and just try to sacrifice the exchange on c3 to pry open the white king here. So I agree. Andreasen has some interesting looking compensation.
Whoa, what's happening in this Mukin game? Did Mukin just win an exchange? Somehow this knight on b3, white bishop f4, and now knight takes a1, hits the queen on c2. So I'm kind of confused at what's going on there.
You can take c7 and take d8, but then white loses
E1
another rook on e1, at the end. So some line that goes like this, everybody. Black gets to take one more rook than white does, and will be completely winning. So Mukin taking his time, but I agree with you. Knight takes a1.
I think Mukin's offline, actually. I'm looking. He's got a little red dot in his bar there. So I think he's having some lagging issues and stuff like that. So we'll see when Mukin returns.
Bad connection. Okay. Well, he's taking his time. We will go back to a game that is moving along. Grigori versus Giri.
So Giri and Oparian. Giri with the black pieces is up a pawn, and it's an outside pawn, a very useful one. In the meantime, black's king looks very safe despite the double isolated pawn, so you can always go king f7 if need be. You don't want to play it too quickly. Whoa.
Ooh.
Okay. C6.
Just going to trade.
And then queen d5 check at the end. Just
Ooh, the king and pawn ending. Nice. If takes c6, takes d1. I thought he would take e2, but no, he'll go queen d5 check, everybody, and force the winning king and pawn ending. Okay,
so queen d4 is actually a very nice move, and you're losing b4 if you don't do anything, right? So if you go queen b3 to attack e6, then maybe I'll go queen c4.
Ooh, he's going to go for it. He decides he can play this king and pawn ending, or he missed queen d5. I'm not sure.
What's going on? Can black just go king f7, king e6, king d6, king c6, king b6, pawn a5, and then play out from there?
Yeah, black is just up a pawn, everybody, which is why Robin and I first just instinctively said he must be winning. I mean, hard to argue with extra material in a king and pawn ending most of the time.
Ooh, but white's going to try to go f4 at the right moment.
Yeah, but Giri...
G5, very useful move. G5 is...
G5 now threatens G4 in a lot of positions, everybody, making these pawns backward. Now D4. Protected pass pawn should be good enough. Yeah, Giri goes for it. F4, what he'll do is he'll take once, and then...
He might take twice, and then play king e6, and use that f pawn as a decoy.
Yeah.
So the good thing about this position for black, besides being up a pawn, is that you can always lose a tempo with pawn a6.
Yeah. An
And look at the clock.
extra zugzwang gaining move.
Wait, Mukin lost? Mukin lost on time. Wow, Mkhitaryan gets a win because Mukin wasn't there.
What happened to Mukin?
The connection went out.
Oh my gosh. His internet died.
And they're both in Armenia. You think that he called up a buddy and was like, "Hey man, can you go to this guy's house and take out his internet?"
I don't even have the game up anymore. I'm looking for it.
So Anish Giri says a5. Is that being met by pawn takes a5, king a5, f4? What's going on there?
It shouldn't be enough though. Black does. Ooh, he decides it is. He's afraid. Trying to regain the opposition with a triangulation. Only 1 second for Grigori. Is a5 now the move? No, doesn't work.
Oh, he almost flagged him. It was
He's
so
going
close.
for f4.
So king c6 should just win, right?
Yeah, white has no moves. He played that move with 2.2 seconds on his clock, but it doesn't matter. He's just down now, a6, and as you foreshadowed, my friend, the tempo-saving move is why black will win the game easily.
Yep. So king c4, king f4, king takes b4, king g5, and then the a-pawn runs. So Giri wins. Mkhitaryan gets very fortunate. And look at that. What's his name? Zavin Andresian somehow makes a draw despite being down in exchange in the early going. So
still unexplainable because Mukin is still in the tournament. Maybe he's recovered and he'll get to play the last round. But Mukin had a bad connection, as we could all see on his bars. Forgot to take his pill. And but Mkhitaryan, has he played Giri yet?
I don't think so. And so that might be a forced pairing. By the way, let's look over that Tigran Petrosian game, which is now completely winning. I guess it's already too late. But Petrosian with the black pieces is winning to get to 7 out of 9. So a half-point back of Mkhitaryan and Giri. So don't count him out.
Well, he just took it. As you said, I couldn't get to it quite in time. Dr. Bassem and the Tiger himself, one of the last big name matchups going on here. What's going on in this one? They just ended.
Wins. I mean, Komsky's been playing like a monster. It's so unfortunate he lost the game to Mkhitaryan because he was doing work, honestly. And now all of a sudden he beats Dr. Bassem Amin, who was a 2,700 approximately rated Egyptian grandmaster. So Komsky is putting in a good day of work. Unfortunately for him, it's not going to be enough.
Let's try to catch the crazy ending here between Durabali and Lenderman.
You know, knights are so good in time trouble that Lenderman just said, "I'm going to give up my rook for a knight and pawn." Very good decision.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for Lenderman,
the decision I was trying to say was good in a game earlier today, but backfired. But okay, should be a draw, short of somebody losing on time here.
Look at Lenderman go. He's trying to win with his king. I love it.
Says, all right, maybe that's not the best decision.
Wait, he got mated. Queen h8, queen h4. No, he missed
mate.
He
missed the mate. White misses mate. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, gosh, that was checkmate.
Absolutely bananas, everybody. Bring up the analysis board and try not to call me Shirley. Gotta be kidding on that, everybody. That was just hilarious. Backing up the game. In this position here, everybody, when white plays queen d8 check after king h8, mate on the board with queen h8, king g5, and queen h4, but white missed it and played the move queen to d7. Just completely blowing it.
Wait, what's going on now? So king g5, okay,
still just a draw.
Yeah. King.
I mean, at this point, one of them might play hard enough to lose. Who knows?
This was an awesome game, though.
Yeah. He just missed the mate with queen h8. And that reminds me of the game. What was the game when we had Meyer qualify because Andrekin mated himself or something like that last year?
Yeah.
It was just crazy, right?
Andrekin mated himself. Yep. Good memory.
Not exactly the same, but just similar in the sense that it was somebody beating themselves for sure.
Okay, so last round, Danny, and Andrasian has great tiebreak. So if Mkhitaryan does not win, and Andrasian has the best tiebreaks of all, so if he wins, he might be in, unless Mkhitaryan has to beat Giri with black, which I just don't see happening. And Andrasian gets white against Alexander Moskalenko, a pretty great pairing, all things considered.
Yep.
Petrosian white against Jaime Santos Latasa. That's going to be a good matchup. And I think that's all of the relevant matchups at this point because those are the only people with 7 or more points. Nobody else can possibly win first place. So let's stick on, of course, Giri and Mkhitaryan and those other two games. Seems like the right move.
Right there with you. Giri Mkhitaryan playing Catalan Theory, making our boy John Urschel proud.
And if Danny, I feel like black against Anish Giri and the Catalan is like one of my worst nightmares in life.
Yeah, no, that's that's somebody's purgatory out there. Playing black over and over again against Anish Giri in the Catalan.
That's just scary, It's like there's certain openings against certain players. I don't want to play this against Krumnik. I don't want to play this against Giri. I don't want to play the knight over with either color against MVL. Just certain things are just you just don't want it. So Mkhitaryan is clearly a very strong blitz player and a grandmaster himself, but he's also young. That's the good thing that he's got going for him. But being young also means a lack of experience, especially in openings like this. Experience is essential. So he's about 17 years old, 25-80 feet, a great player, but we'll see if he can hold on against Giri. Now look what Giri did. He gave up his dark sword bishop, which is thematic, and look at the expansion coming. E4 can be played at any moment. He can decide not to play E4 and instead trade off the light square bishops. I wouldn't do it quite yet, but you can trade off the light square bishops, intending eventually, and there he goes and does it. But my point was he was going to start trying to take over the light squares. In particular, look over there on the queen side. If black plays c5 now, well, you can't do that because I take on c5 with the pawn, but I'm going to use the b5 square was my main point. So after queen
d5 is sort of surprising. It just invites e4.
Yeah, I mean, that's weird.
Yeah. Shout out to Face Chess once again, coming through with 1,000 bits. You're amazing. You're blowing my face up with your Face Chess. Okay, well, yeah, interesting to induce e4 just for the right to kind of tuck the queen on this sort of useful diagonal against the king. But I agree that fair to say this is sort of a two-result kind of position for white, at least with a guy like Giri playing it. Going to be hard for white not to have an edge. Bring the other rook to the d file. I like white's chances here.
Yeah, the knight at c4 is so perfectly placed, and if you go c5, I'll just always can go e5, and I can even take on c5, I guess, as well.
And if you get the other rook there, you might even have d5 and have a passed d pawn and be able to keep your knight on an outpost square like c4. Let's jump over to the game with Andriassian taking on Moskalenko. I think you said it well. All things considered, a pretty good pairing if you're Andriassian. And right now he looks to have some pressure on the king side. I mean, nothing. We're not announcing mate or anything, but you like the two knights over here, and how does white manufacture the attack?
Yeah, and that's a great way of putting it, manufacture, because you really have to do something.
Yeah.
You're going to have to
You have to poke and prod. You'd like to play moves like queen g4, but even I don't know if you can play g6, but well, one of the other ways to look at the pressure on the king side, right, Robert, is not that white has to mate black, but okay, black can't play g6 as long as the structure stays where it is. Black doesn't want to give up the light square bishop for the knight on f5. So it's one of those positions that's also, both sides are sort of playing chicken, right? Okay, but now Andreessen's going to go for it, opening up the game.
Yeah, that's not a chicken move. But wait, knight f6. What if I go pawn takes e5, knight g4, and then if I go bishop f4?
He stops knight g4, but now knight h5 is a move in some of these positions.
Well, thankfully, the knight f5 protects g3. So
yep.
I will take on oh, you did it. I thought just taking on e5 here.
Well, I was going to say knight h5 did threaten knight takes g3, Robert, because there was a fork on f4 at the end.
You're right.
But now he gets g6. He's right, as I said, black can't move anything on the king side. Moskalenko proving me wrong, and
But Danny, you can just sacrifice the piece. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great move, g4.
Oh, this was a terrible decision by black, and you're just completely losing now. I mean, the problem is if you take on f5, I'll take on f5 right back with my e-pawn.
Yep.
And
just two awesome pawns and a bunch of attacking chances to come with it.
And you're losing a piece right back because e6 is hanging, h5 is hanging. After e takes f5, maybe you play bishop takes b3 and just hope that you are holding on there. But bishop b3, rook b3. Rook b3 might not be necessary, but I would take it. Knight takes b3. Can I go g takes h5 here? Which knight do I take?
Yeah.
Queen takes b3 looks good.
They're both good. No, but I liked g takes f5 better, Robert. Ooh, I didn't expect queen takes e5, though. I can play bishop f2, defend the rook, defend the knight, and then b3's falling.
Yep.
Yeah, he plays it. I agree.
Danny, you're so smart sometimes.
I'm seeing tactics today. I ate my Wheaties this morning.
Uh-oh, but queen takes b3, rook d2 is coming. And then knight f3.
Yeah,
but then rook takes f2. Rook takes f2.
Rook takes f2, rook d2 check. You're
and
right.
Bishop c5 check first. Rook takes e2, king f2, bishop c5
He's going to find it. Rook takes f2.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my gosh. That would be a huge turnaround if black wins this game.
So let's see. But bishop c5, king f1.
King f1, queen g3, rook e2. d1 is guarded by the queen, so there's no mate.
Okay, and you can also go knight d4. Oh, no, you can't go knight d4 because the queen on b3 is hanging after queen g3.
Yeah, queen g3, knight d4. There's a pin here, everybody. Don't forget it.
Is rook d3 a move here? Just going after the knight on f3. There it is.
It is. In fact, that's like a really killer.
Wait, rook e8 check, king g7, king e2. Play king e2. And just
king
run
E2
that king
and everything
away.
is guarded.
Run with your king. There it is.
Bananas. Okay, but if rook e3 trade everything, queen takes king d1, there's a move like... No, okay, he doesn't...
Whoa, what is rook d6? I cannot...
Rook d6 is sort of a time pressure move, making the practical decision maybe. Now there's queen g3.
But there was no time pressure. That's why it's so weird.
Well, maybe he's just recognizing he didn't see it, and he just wants to keep playing quickly, let white get down on time.
So let's see. How do I deliver the goods if I'm white here?
I've been keeping a secret eye over here on the game between Giri and Mkhitaryan.
Ooh, I thought rook e4 was the way to play. To bring the rook back to the defense.
Wow, he's running. Queen f2, he's got it. The bishop, by the way, if you move the bishop to the wrong square, queen f1, the knight is pinned.
Yep, there is a knight. The rook can come back to e1, thankfully, but this is not looking good now. Whoa, king takes...
Why not, though?
Like king c1.
Wait, knight e4 check is not possible. It's pinned, okay.
Queen b2 check, he blundered. Queen b2.
Queen b2 and he wins b4.
Because rook d4, rook e2, and the king runs to c2 always. Oh, boy. This game is unbelievable. What's going on in the... I don't even want to look at the other game. This game is
I've been keeping an eye on it. It was pretty much what we predicted. Giri doubled rooks on the d file, as we said, and eventually got a two-result kind of position. He looks like he's going to win. Okay, yeah, but we're going to keep our focus over here.
So, wait, what the h pawn's remaining is a draw. Take everything here. So what's going on in the Petrosian game? If he wins...
If Petrosian wins, he leapfrogs them.
So what black needs to do is like king g6, king h7, king h8, and that's it. It's a draw.
And he's going to do exactly that. Where's Petrosian's game? Where's Petrosian's game? I must find you.
He's playing Jaime Santos Latasa. And is Giri drawing this, or is he winning? I feel like he has to be close to winning, but...
He's the only one who can win, like we said, a two-result kind of position, but maybe...
But did he let him out? Because if he draws, then Mkhitaryan goes on as the qualifier.
Well, he gets 8. What happens if Petrosian wins, though? Does he leapfrog him in terms of tiebreak points?
That's a great question. Did he blunder? It looks like Giri blundered. So where's the queen c7 here? Okay. King D8. There's no more checks. Well, what? Queen A6.
Whoa.
Queen E5. Queen E5 check.
Queen E5. Queen D4 even.
Queen H2. Queen H2.
Queen H2.
That way you can go to B8.
Okay, but even this move, King
this
E8 was a move there, threatening Queen F8, by the way.
King B8, game over. So Giri wins this one.
Oh my gosh. He just Giri plays spoiler.
So Petrosian is the game we got to look at right here.
We'll take a second to appreciate Giri's dominant performance today in a minute, because he just showed up, by the way, and may have leaped a bunch of rating points as far as who he's going to play in the Speed Chess Championship, Robert.
And Andreasen has the best tie breaks right now. So if this game ends in a draw, which it should, Andreasen looks like the qualifier.
Andreasen gets 7.5 out of 10, tying Mkhitaryan. I will bring up the scoreboard so that as we follow these games, we can see what happens when they finish. Petrosian and Jaime Santos both would have to win if they had a chance, but neither is going to do so. Actually,
King D6 draw.
Okay. For a second, I thought he was getting there before the king got to E5, but no.
Andreasen breathes a huge sigh of relief, and with that result, I think it's official.
I think it's official. I think his countryman was just denied, and Andreasen is going to take the spot.
Wow. And we do have to, as you said, show great admiration and appreciation for Anish Giri, because he's not only did he come and play when he didn't have to.
Seriously,
he won $1,000. That's awesome. But very importantly, he crushed this field. 8.5 out of 10. He went a point ahead of second place.
Yeah.
In a very, very difficult field. And to put that in perspective, Alexander Grischuk, who's already in the field and is one of the top players in the world, only got 6.5 out of 10. So Giri, he really got his money's worth. He raised his rating to 29.56, it looks like. And I don't know who he's going to play, but that's a big boy rating for sure.
I'm letting the standings sink in for everybody as they take a big look at all the top players that were in today's field. It was amazing. But there's also an awesome, instructive knight and bishop mate that's about to go down, assuming... Oh, as Black might have just messed up. I don't know how close they are to move 50, but Black just missed a mate in 6. I've seen, and right now he's spending too much time in the wrong corner. You got to play bishop h7. There you go. Now you lead with the knight. There you go. Run the king. Knight d7. Bishop back. Okay, he's got it now.
Bishop d3.
Okay, he figured it out. And now the king is in the right color corner of the bishop. Everybody. So this is an easy win for White, and FIDE master Bryakin Mikkel is going to take down Alexander King. So
wait, no, Bryakin's white and Alexander King's black.
Sorry. King wins. Alexander King makes it happen. Nice technique there, right? Always fun to end on a super instructive note as far as the last game goes, and we will see what the results were. But yeah, so bringing up the standings there, we see that the top 3 players as listed, but wait a second, it lists Mukin higher than Andreasen as far as the medals are concerned.
Whoa.
That's because of their ratings, but I don't...
No. Mukin's tiebreaks are...
Mukin's tiebreaks leapfrogged Andreasen's.
How did that just happen?
Oh my gosh, the final... That can't be right. Mukin missed a game. Oh no, he didn't. He lost the game, but it wasn't a forfeit.
Exactly.
Because he had bad time.
Out.
So it's not Andreasen, it's Mukin, who I need to actually say what his real name is, because I keep forgetting exactly what his name is. Oops.
Wow.
Reminding myself, it is Aram Hakobian, who moves on and takes the qualification spot into the Speed Chess Championship.
Wow. I mean, it showed that Zabin was ahead. All of a sudden, the tiebreaks just flipped. The last
round tiebreaks hadn't been calculated yet. And first of all, can we take a brief moment to consider and appreciate the standings there as far as the country of Armenia is concerned? Look at the top 15 players from Arm Composer down here at number 17. There's a lot of Armenian grandmasters involved in this event, but topping all of his countrymen is Grandmaster Harakobian. taking the silver medal, and he will be playing in the Speed Chess Championship.
I'm speechless. I mean, I just caught me totally off guard there. But you're right. Look at Armenia got places 2 through 5.
Yep.
With Yukin, Andreassian, Petrosian, Mkhitaryan. Then you see Hrant Malkumian at Hana Pazoraya. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry. And then, like you said, Arm Composer. So they have 6 players in the top 17 spots. That's pretty impressive for such a small country.
Yeah, Hana Parazoria is actually Malkumian, the Armenian Eagles player, right? But yeah, so, wow, an amazing finish there. Andreassian, the hero of the Armenian Eagles in the Pro Chess League and one of the most well-known, best rapid and bullet players on our site, gets leapfrogged right at the end by his countryman, Harakobian, who at this point right now we are updating the pairings, and we will see exactly what they are as soon as we have them. Robert and I are actually going to keep you all here with us and update exactly what the pairings are, because the ratings are determined. So this year, let's talk a little bit about this SCC in general, Robert.
Yeah.
The pairings list will be updated soon. But the format of what's about to happen here, and we're going to tell you exactly who is playing who, but the pairings for the main SCC, meaning how the players are seated, are based on Chess.com ratings for the first time ever. So rather than what we already know is their OTB rating with pairings set in advance, we're actually going to find out right now. Anish Giri, who won this event today, dominating it, Robert, what did that do to his seeding? Did that help or not? I think there's one clear goal a lot of people had. I think it's pretty fair to say that nobody wanted to play Hikaru in the first round. I think that's a fair thing to say, right? But other than playing Hikaru, did Anish Giri help his first round matchup by gaining a whole bunch of rating points and ending at 29.56 today or not? We're going to find out.
I'm going to have to imagine he did, because the farther up you go, it seems like less likely that you play any of the big guns too early. And you're right. Nobody wants to play Hikaru, but since it's 1 versus 16, right? So it wasn't in any real danger. If I'm looking at sort of the players in the field, it looks like Ho Yifan had solidified her number 16 ranking because she hasn't been super active and her blitz rating is relatively low on Chess.com. Now, what I would be scared about is getting that 2 seed and playing Wei Yi, whose Chess.com rating is 2,500 or something like that. So, that's clearly underrated. It's like the young Indian, not even teenager, preteen, Double Anand, right? That's what they call him, who just became a grandmaster. His rapid rating's like 1,700. So you don't want to play any of these underrated people. Now,
wow.
I
was going to say, you and I are looking at standings that nobody else can see here, but I was about to say that the other really low-rated player is, according to not being as active on Chess.com, certainly as a guy like Anish Giri was today, is Shakir Mamedyarov. And getting him in the first round may also be something that nobody really wants. We're going to find out what the pairings are right now as our team is taking it. So, actually, I think that it will end up being Wesley So playing Wei Yi. We're going to see here very soon. I'm on the edge of my seat. So what did we just see here in the Speed Chess Championship? We saw Harakobian right there join the field right below Aronian and Karyakin. Young grandmaster from Armenia. Plays outstanding chess today. Gets himself atop the leaderboard, leapfrogging his own countryman Zavin Andreassian right there at the end of the event. And there we have it. We actually have what looks to me not quite the pairings, but almost we have the pairings, and we'll be updating you momentarily here.
Yeah, it looks like we're trying to get everything together here, but I mean, I still can't get over the fact that I was so positive it was Andreassian qualifying. Yeah. And I'm like looking at the tie breaks, looking at who each player played. That's why I'm like distracted over here. And all right, but back to the players that are in this field, right? So if I'm a high-rated grandmaster, who do I want to play? Who do I not want to play? Now, I think that what's pretty set in stone is MVL and Lenier Dominguez are playing in the first round, and that's definitely the matchup I'm going to be most excited.
Right, that's already just crazy, right? Because I think you got to give the slight nod to MVL, but Dominguez had to be one of the most feared people if you were one of the top guns, right? Somebody you didn't want to get in the first round.
Absolutely not. And also Mamedyarov is particularly low rated relative to the rest of the field. Same with Aronian. So some of these guys are a little bit farther down the pack. But I don't know Mamedyarov's bullet skill on chess.com, for example. I'm not super familiar with it. I know over the board he's just phenomenal. You just don't want to play him in speed chess. It's just so good. But here on the chess.com server, I'm uncertain. Now, Nepo, whether he's the 5 seed, the 6 seed, that would be very interesting because he probably does not want to be the 5 seed. So good. Actually, on the chess.com server, think about that again. If Karyakin stays the 3 seed, you do want to be the 5 or 4 seed because you want to avoid Karyakin. If Caruana is the 4th seed, which I'm not sure he is, but it all just depends on these very little rating changes that just happen because if I'm not mistaken, Caruana can be bumped behind Anish Giri, and if that's the case, then Caruana is pushed to like the 5th seed, and that would be, I think Caruana is someone you would like to play relative to some of these others. And it's no offense to Fabi, good buddy of mine, extremely strong player, but I know I'd much rather play Fabi than Karyakin from what I've seen on this Speed Chess Championship format. But it's still up in the air as to the pairings. So
yeah, well, we're figuring out exactly what the ratings are because the players who played today, the players who played today actually sort of surprised us. But it looks like we actually do have the final word on what the ratings are. Let me confirm that with our staff over the next 30 seconds. And we'll be right back with the pairings for this year's Speed Chess Championship. Okay, I think we have it. I think we have them in the books. Almost. Everybody's waiting. But I didn't disagree with anything you were saying. I was just checking with the staff, make sure that things were going okay. I think Fabiano is, he's made strides, I think, as a blitz player, at least online. But okay, the recent performances in Paris and Leuven might argue against that, right? That Fabiano just hasn't necessarily had his A game going. He's got some bigger things on his mind, I guess, in regards to a World Championship match coming up. But of all those top player faces we see there, I agree that getting Fabiano in the first round is probably preferred over playing Nakamura, MVL, or even Anish Giri, right? And Wesley So.
Yeah, in some ways, actually, I think if the pairing for this potential, well, let's talk about the first round match. I don't want to jump to second round matchups because you don't know if upsets will occur. And by rating, I feel 100% certain that Nakamura will beat Hou Yifan. I have, no problems saying that. I think it's clear to most of the world that that's the case. And if this other pairing, Wesley So against Wei Yi, that's much more interesting to me. I really don't know Wei Yi's mouse skills. I don't know if he's secretly a beast online. Obviously, over the board, he's just a total monster. So I'm very curious to see if Wesley So can continue his dominance over slightly lower rated players and can knock him off. Now, Karyakin versus Jan-Christoph Duda, that's an interesting matchup. Duda is a fascinating player to watch. I do think Karyakin is as of recent years, has been the beast of all beasts in terms of speed chess over the board. You saw him last year at the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz just crush it. He won a World Blitz Championship. He's phenomenal. And, I think that Karyakin is just the favorite no matter who he matches up against in that first round. And now here's where things get more interesting. If Giri is indeed playing Shakhriyar Mamedyarov in the 4 versus 13 matchup, Mamedyarov is a monster. I mean, that guy, what can you say? Like, the guy is just unbelievably strong. And Giri proved his might today against a field that is significantly weaker than the likes of Shakhriyar Mamedyarov, right? That's, it's not even up for debate. And Mamedyarov playing this field, just way too strong. And so I think that match will be very interesting. Giri flexing some muscles today, but Mamedyarov come Speeches Championship, first round time, that's a toss-up to me. Caruana versus Aronian, to me, is two sort of underachievers. It's Giri versus Aronian, Caruana versus Mamedyarov. So that was the last second flip. Is that what's happening here?
I don't know No, I don't think so. I think the last second pairings are actually.
I think that Giri is the 4 seed.
Yeah, Giri should be playing against. Giri should be playing against Mamedyarov.
Yeah, which is what I was discussing.
No.
Right? Isn't. Yeah, because Giri should be. Hold up. Now I'm confusing myself here. Yeah, Giri is higher than Fabiano by Chess.com Blitz rating. So now it's getting me confused. So Giri should be in front of Caruana by rating because Giri is 29.56. And I'm just going to do a little search myself. Caruana is, without further ado, he is, what does your rating say? Blitz, 29.51. So Giri jumped ahead of him. So Giri should be the 4 seed. So just flip Giri and Caruana.
Yeah, the pairings you see there are accurate if you just flip the Giri and Caruana. And there we go.
Right. So let's flip Giri and Caruana because the other matchups look correct. And that's what I wanted to say. Like, Giri playing Mamedyarov, and Mamedyarov is a monster. And I was going to get to the Caruana-Aronian match. That's super interesting to me because, to me, those are the two underachievers in Speeches Championship history. These guys are phenomenal players in classical chess. Somehow, when you get to the quicker time controls, they just don't have it going on. I don't know.
Which two are you talking about?
I'm talking about Caruana and Aronian, right? So they just.
Well, I don't know if I feel the same way about Aronian. He's had some tough matchups and lost some really, really close settings, right? I mean, he played Grischuk in the first year.
That matchup was awesome.
That was one of the best matches we've ever had, and to me, it was a complete coin flip. And last year, he was up 2, I think maybe 3 games at one point against Nepomniachtchi. And so I'm not sure that I agree that Aronian has underperformed. He's had some really tough matchups. I think that Caruana has been been one of those guys who we do see as like maybe the best player in the world classical besides Magnus Carlsen, but is probably not even in the top 5 as far as this field goes. Right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I'm being a little bit harsh on Levon, but at the end of the day, you have to win your matches, right? Getting close isn't cutting it. And Fabiano did have the easier matchup last time around by beating Yifan, and then he got demolished by Nakamura. I think it was like 18 to 10 or something like that.
So now that we're 100% showing you what we know the pairings are, we will announce to you as soon as we have confirmation. We've already been working with all the players in regards to their availability, and you can see the schedule right now at speedchesschampionships.com. As far as the initial sort of placeholder dates, they should be pretty close to that. But what I want to talk about, Robert, is what we said. The funny thing is, so Giri just shows up today, dominates this event and gets first place, gets to 29.56, leapfrogging 2 players in the standings, I think, coming in. He leapfrogged Nepomniachtchi and Caruana, but he gets rewarded by playing Shakir Mamedyarov.
Yeah.
Like, I look at the pairings and I don't know. I would have rather have played Duda or Aronian rather than Mamedyarov in the first round.
Definitely. I mean, I really don't know Duda's prowess online. So, maybe he's kind of the surprise. He's a dark horse to consider for an upset. But yeah, I mean, Mamedyarov is so good. I've actually played him over the board in Blitz. We played in the Aeroflop Blitz tournament back in maybe 2011.
Yeah.
And I've never felt so bad at chess as I did
in your
sitting
life.
across from him playing.
No, it's crazy. So it'll be funny to see if that becomes a decision that Giri regrets or not. But as I told you, I know he knew about it because we were joking about it this week and whether or not, he wasn't sure whether he wanted to raise his rating anymore or not. I think ultimately he decided, well, I'm going to play today and see what happens. But he played himself high enough to not be playing against Aronian, but didn't quite get high enough to play a guy like Duda, didn't quite overtake someone like Karyakin. But okay, if we're going through these matchups, I think it's pretty clear. You look at guys like Nakamura and Karyakin as heavy favorites. Wesley So maybe not as much a favorite over Wei Yi, but still somebody who we think is definitely the stronger player. The Giri-Mamedyarov match and the MVL versus Dominguez-Perez, right? The Frenchman with 3 names versus the Cuban with 3 names. Those are the 2 matchups that I think have us most excited here in the first round. Oh,
how about that Nepo-Grischuk matchup? I mean, I can't.
That's true. Russian on Russian action, right? I mean, that is a whole lot of consonants.
Nepo was actually, now that I think about disappointments, after he beat Aronian last year, didn't he get just absolutely obliterated by Karyakin?
Yeah.
That was just, that was a ridiculous...
Karyakin was, and as Hikaru has said, I mean, I asked Hikaru, okay, with Magnus Carlsen not in the field, who do you see as potentially the person who might be able to beat you in this format? And Hikaru said straight up that he thinks it's pretty much a 50-50 match when him and Karyakin go at it. And obviously Sergey playing very well this summer over the Grand Chess Tour. And so, I think if you had to say, but I think as it's set up right now, Nakamura and Karyakin would actually meet before the finals with the 1 seed and the 3 seed.
No, they wouldn't.
They would.
Because the 2...
because 1 would play 4 and 2 would play 3. You're right. Right. So they would meet in the finals if both Hikaru and Karyakin took it home.
But look at the potential second round matchup between Nakamura and MVL. Like, that's just nuts.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
bad luck for MVL. One of the things to think about as far as why these guys should have been working to improve their ratings is not just the first round matchup, but you avoid Hikaru in the second round, right?
Honestly, if you throw MVL to the other side of the bracket, let's say he was, I don't know, if he was a 7th seed even, if he was, instead of Hakobian, he was a 7th seed, he gets to play Vidit Gujarati. He gets to play the winner of Wesley So and Wei Yi. I mean, these are pretty good matchups relative to playing Hikaru in the second round.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Wesley So, he's obviously very good. He had the epic matchup against Anish Giri, 15.5, 14.5 tiebreaker. But he absolutely he just got destroyed by Magnus. And Magnus is going to Magnus. But I do not think MVL would lose that badly to Magnus, not even close. And so I think that MVL would much prefer to see Wesley So than Hikaru Nakamura, and it's not even close.
Well, Udai444 in the chat makes a good point that MVL in the second round doesn't necessarily make Hikaru happy either. I think Nakamura is the heavy favorite, and he's already beaten MVL in the first Grandmaster Blitz battles we did. But if you're Hikaru, MVL is definitely somebody you're having a bad day, he's having a good day. I mean, I think Maxime is certainly capable of a fighter's chance. So that's a good point from Udai444. I wonder, so what matchups is everybody in the chat excited to see? Let us know. We're rounding out the show. Again, if you're just joining us, congratulations to the Armenian Grandmaster Young Hakobian, takes the 7th seed there, as you can see. And by the way, we haven't talked much about that. I mean, Hakobian getting the 7th seed, that's not the worst pairing to get in the first round, right? Playing Gujarati, a first-time young player joining the Speed Chess Championship, Robert. I mean, that's somebody that Hakobian has the potential, I think, to upset. And there you go. Chessbase saying she wants to see the matchup of the short names. That's funny.
That is an interesting matchup, Danny, the one you were just discussing with Gujarati and Hakobian. I mean, it depends. I don't know much about this guy. He's pretty young. Recently became a grandmaster. His rating has been going up. On paper, Gujarati should be a heavy favorite. He's, something like 180 points higher rated in classical time controls. Now, how that translates is a much different story. But I, feel pretty confident that Gujarati is the much better player in any time control. So, Vidit, he's got his work cut out for him. He just saw this guy play very well, but at the same time, he should have full confidence in himself to be able to handle him. And I'm looking at Vidit's over-the-board ratings. His blitz rating is 27-27, so he's clearly no slouch in that time control over the board either.
Yep. Johnny Blunder saying looking forward to the Caruana Giri match, but they're not playing each other, so that's going to be a tough matchup for them to have in the first round. But okay, they could both win. Johnny Blunder, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the Caruana Aronian match. I'm going to surprise you and say that might be one I'm looking forward to as many as others because I legit think that one's a real coin flip. Okay, I think MVL Dominguez Perez is not quite as much of a coin flip. I do think MVL is the favorite there, despite how strong we know Lanier is. Given MVL's experience, given that he is the stronger grandmaster, I'm going to lean the Frenchman's way. But who's going to win between Caruana and Aronian? No idea. And Giri Mamedyarov.
That's a great question. I think Fabiano is so focused on other things that I would not be surprised if he doesn't take it. Not that he doesn't take. He always takes these things seriously, but I think that Aronian has less to focus on in terms of pure chess related things.
Right.
And obviously, we're talking about the World Championship, and so with that being said, I do think that Levon should be in solid shape for that matchup. And you're right, Levon in the last couple of years, he lost a close one to Grischuk, and as we know, Grischuk is awesome in these quick time controls. He lost a close one to Nepo. Nepo is a force to be reckoned with. So I'm going to give the nod to Levon as well, and I'm not even considering an upset.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's the 5-12 seed, a lot like the March Madness, right? Is it really an upset? I don't know that you can really call anything an upset, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking a lot about this as I'm sort of looking into what I actually already know the players have confirmed as their availabilities. I think there's a pretty good chance that Caruana Aronian is actually our first match on the docket on July 24th. And I'm a little bit nervous here to announce that live while we're still here. But am I that nervous? Plus, we all know I stick my foot in my mouth from time to time. I'm looking for one email before I confirm it. Darn it! Never mind. I'm not gonna confirm it. At least not right away. But anyway, I think there's a pretty good chance Caruana Aronian is the first one people should mark their calendars for. But either way, July 24th is when the next and first Speed Chess Championship match will be. I can already confirm that, and very, very likely that that will be Caruana Aronian. Chess Bay, the schedule is supposed to have been updated. I'm not sure if it has, but it's actually July 24th, not the 17th, is the first matchup. And so there you go. I can tell you for sure July 24th is going to be the first matchup of the year. So, all right, Robert. Well, I think we could probably drag this on for a while, given that it's pretty exciting to finally have an answer as far as who all 16 players are. Again, congratulations to the young. I'm sorry that my name Hakobian, and here we go. We have all 16 players. The games will begin very soon. You and I will have the majority of the matches this year, I believe, with maybe some subs in and out here and there. But I'm pretty excited to get this show on the road, and I don't think I have anything else.
I got nothing for you either. Someone just asked me if I'll be doing commentary at the U.S. Junior Championship. I will be. So that means, Danny, you know what I'm going to be doing after this?
What?
Hacking. Packing
That's
for my
right.
flight in the morning.
You're on a flight. You're leaving on a jet plane right after this, right?
Not in the morning, but still got to get my stuff together.
Yep. All right. Well, just like that, before we leave, we got one more cheer from Face Chess, bringing the soccer ball emotes. Who won between France and Belgium? What was the final?
France won, Danny, 1-0.
You don't sound too happy about it.
Well, I was kind of rooting for Belgium, but I also am more unhappy that I couldn't see the entire game. So,
Yeah.
I was catching up at my periphery, but that's about it.
The Face Chess wants us to host Ninja. I'm not sure we're going to host Ninja. I think there's some other chess guys going right now that might be the slightly more appropriate host for our audience, but I do appreciate it, Face Chess. Good suggestion. My teenager would agree with you that it would be better to host Ninja. So, but all right. Much else?
I got nothing for you. I'm sitting here really just contemplating life at this point.
Okay, wait. I have 100% confirmation before we go. The match on July 24th will be Caruana versus Aronian. Mark it down. Shoot him, McGavin. There you go. Okay, everybody. Before you go anywhere, July 24th will be Fabiano Caruana, World Championship candidate versus Levon Aronian. And they will be the first match to kick things off on July 24th, right there, the 5 versus the 12 seed. One of the matches we feel as much as any is truly a coin flip. Grandmaster Robert Hess and I will have the call. So for those of you who were smart enough to wait till the last second, I got confirmation from Fabiano and have confirmation from Levon Aronian already that this matchup will go down. So there you go. Let's talk specifically about that matchup. Let's bring up their pretty faces. Right there, Fabiano Caruana on the right side versus Levon Aronian on the left. Appropriate. What's going to happen? What do we got?
Like I said, I think we got Levon. I mean, you have to imagine that Fabi is in the midst of preparation for the upcoming Grand Chess Tour events, as is Levon. But his preparation is just different. He's got to prepare for the World Championship. He's got to prepare for Magnus. And with all these different chess ideas swirling around his head, probably some of them new, I have no insight into what he's doing. But you just have to imagine that Magnus Carlsen is not playing the Speed Chess Championship or the Grand Chess Tour. And you'd have
in many ways to focus on the World Championship.
Exactly, right? To focus on the World Championship. And maybe Magnus is indeed playing in St. Louis. He is playing the Sinquefield Cup. So he decided to play in that one. He's not playing the Rapid and Blitz. But the point is that he's taking these tournaments off so he can focus on the World Championship. And Fabi doing the same. He must be. And that just leads me to believe that Levon is going to be able to play in this online format much more seriously and much more competently when he's not preparing for the same exact events that Fabi is. So I'm liking Levon's chances. I like that Liam Shez 12 said Aronian's computer will die again. That's that would be a good way to.
We're gonna make sure Levon doesn't get in that spot again. I'm gonna talk to him about it well in advance. I'll agree with you by saying I also know that Aronian is pretty psyched this year to move past the first round. As he let me know, he's also hoping he doesn't get penalized the game for a bad connection. I think he's still a little bitter, but we'll move on from that. No, Levon is actually really in great spirits and super excited to be back. He wants to move on, but I'll play devil's advocate from the perspective that he doesn't play as much on Chess.com as Caruana does. So again, we'll see, right? I do believe it's a coin flip in many ways as far as the chess skills go, and so either way, we're going to have a 5-12 matchup on July 24th. That will be the first event of the year. Mark it down, and we'll see it. So if you stick around, we're going to be hosting JJ Chess 2018, one of our favorite and regular chess streamers. So don't go anywhere. In just about 30 seconds, we'll switch over to that, and really appreciate everyone who's tuned in here. Thank you to my partner, Grandmaster Robert Hess. And I'll see you in about 2 weeks on July 24th, sir.
In exactly 2 weeks, right? Same time-ish, I guess. Same place, though, that's for sure. Chess.com/TV and Twitch.tv/chess. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
All right, man. Well, see you then. Thanks to everybody who's been here with us all day, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Arena Kings. Actually, I think I'll be streaming and playing. But Robert, you're going to be streaming and playing?
I will not be. I'll be flying to
You'll
St.
be
Louis.
flying. I was testing you. Good job. You're going to be on a plane, and I'll see you later.
All right, Danny.